Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for this AEW ROH review. Just kidding. It's your Ring of Honor post show with Kate and Reg for, my goodness, it's 420, you guys. So get in your super chats, get in your humper chats, partake if you like, chill out with us. We're here. We're having fun.
Who's high?
I'm not, but I'm not going to speak on behalf of anybody else on the stream. I won't speak on behalf of anybody else in the chat. Hey,
who is high in the chat? Please let us know who's high. Thanks.
Yeah, please do. I mean, Sean spoke to Joy on air
exactly
when the Saudi Arabia rumor broke. So we're hanging out here. We're having a good time. We're rocking and rolling. But I don't know, Reg. I did not have that much of a good time with this episode. It's never you're never gonna get a bad. But where did all my storylines go? Where did all my champions go? And why aren't they fighting in the division that they have belts for? Not a huge fan of that. But if you guys want to weigh in, send in your super chats, send in your humper chats. Join us on twitch.tv/FightfulGaming if you want to support us that way. And the best free way to support us, leave a thumbs up ski on this video. Matthew Plus chiming in saying he's high. It's the only time that you'll ever like this guy. He's a pain in the ass, so if that's what it takes to get him to be tolerable.
Smoke some more, boy.
That's it. I did tell people they sent in super chats that I would marry him, and Ricardo said, Kate, it's too soon. We've only just met. Look, I'm moving quick, all right? You send in super chats, we're married.
It's time.
That's how it works.
Gotta hurry.
Not everyone was as down on this episode as I was. We've got a chat here saying, every week we're blessed by the Holy Trinity, Athena, Takeshita, and Vikingo. Yes. I ain't complaining about that or a lot of the in-ring that we saw tonight, but
yeah. That's what I was going to say. The wrestling today was very strong. I do agree there weren't a lot of stories progressed. There weren't a lot of things established for this future. But as far as a wrestling show, very strong.
It was. The in-ring was great. You kind of knew that looking at the card. You saw Takeshita and Lee Moriarty on there. You saw, I think it was nice to see Colt Cabana back in there. We didn't get a lot out of him, but he's obviously no slouch in the ring. We got Vikingo and Gringo Loco, who there's a feature that you can check out from Jeremy Lambert on. So head over and check that out. And we got to see some fresh talent in there as well. But I felt like this was overall a little bit lackluster. But to your point, not because of the in-ring. We do start off with the Kingdom at Taven and Mike Bennett with, of course, the lovely Maria Kanellis versus Action Andretti and Top Flight's Darius Martin. So they are making it very clear that Action Andretti is not in Top Flight, but they are teaming together, which I think isn't good.
Top Flight 2.0. Never will be. Never think it for 1 second. Thank you.
Except that's exactly what they wanted you to think, but then they cleared it up. They said no.
Yes.
This was a fine opener. I felt like there was a lot of stuff on this episode that was pretty good. Maria with the distraction, and Taven and Bennett hit the Proton Pack for the win here. Fun tag opener. What were your thoughts on this?
Again, I love seeing the Kingdom. I think they're a great tag team. I think this episode established a lot in the tag division, if one thing, showing us a couple of new teams. The Kingdom continue to show that they're going to be a dominant force in this division. Darius and Action Andretti are fine. I like it. It's something for them to do while we wait for Dante. I still want to see Darius in a singles role because I think he'd be a better function there. I want to see this Kingdom move on. I'm happy they got the victory here. Let's establish them with another tag team. Let's start moving into another direction.
Yeah, this is kind of my thing. Like, we've got no delineation around the AEW rosters. We don't really have delineation of who's in what division. And we got to see one of our tag team champions today. I think Phoenix might have an injury or something.
I think so too. I'm not positive on it, but I'm sure we'll hear about it soon.
So I understand that piece of it. But him being in a singles match without real acknowledgement of that is weird, especially when it was obviously, and for good reason, there was such a big deal made out of the tag teams. Totally. But yeah, this is a fun opener. Ricardo saying that he will hit his bong in my honor. Well, thank you. Yes. And that says, Reg, hi.
Hello.
God love you guys for hanging out with us tonight. I also got a chat saying that I'm Haley and Kylie's mom. I don't understand how that happened, but you know, I got Reg with me, so
Congrats.
I gotta, you know, we gotta draw some boundaries if I'm gonna be a mom. But
totally. I mean, I like establishing boundaries early because, you know, me around moms, I don't know, things just change.
I don't know, man. Pylon saying Athena is worth my $10 alone, but then you give me Vikingo and Gringo Loco too. Honor Club is the best.
I feel like I should pay them more. Here's another 10 for that. Thank you guys.
Not if I'm not getting my stories. Not if I'm not getting my title defenses.
Okay, all right. You're my grandma. You want your stories at 11 a.m. I get it.
I do want my
Bold
stories
and the Beautiful.
At 11
all right, Kate.
Look,
here we go.
One thing that I always really liked about Ring of Honor, what I liked in the early going of this too, was it was very clear, logical stories with devices like standings and wins and losses and all of these things. And today, love Colt Cabana, great to see him out there, but it was like, you have a title shot for reasons. Like, I don't want it to feel like mini AEW, particularly because we got Dynamite, Rampage, and another 2 hours of that coming. True. Keep it an alternative. Didn't feel that way for me tonight, but
I agree.
No complaints about the in-ring. We will quickly move along then, since we had a fun tag opener, nothing overly noteworthy to cook on. I will say Action Andretti has a really good moonsault, like just clean, well done, good looking moonsault. It's no Io Sky, but it's pretty damn good. No, so nice. We will take it. We got Athena cutting a promo backstage, calling out anyone who is brave enough to dethrone her. Again, thought that might be setting up a story. Didn't really get that tonight, but hopefully that is coming soon.
Yeah, not so much. Just kind of her being like, I'm Athena again, letting y'all know anybody could get beat up.
And we are going to talk about how she let it in a little bit. But before that, we get Willow Nightingale and Robyn Renegade. And again, a perfectly serviceable match. Not a ton to write home about here. I did like Willow winning by countering a pinning combination, though. That's something we haven't seen a ton of, I feel like. It's usually a, big power bomb from her or something in that arena. So a nice way to switch it up here. She does get beat down by both of the Renegade twins after. I love Caprice and Ian being as much of like a little Willow fan, a little Willow mark as we are. It's fun. I like leaning into stuff like that. Totally. I'll take that any day of the week. Knowing that a bunch of people were high listening to Ian Riccaboni rap is just like, it warmed my heart. That's just that's a good way to live your life today.
It didn't warm my heart. I don't know.
No. It's when there's things that are cheesy in wrestling. I have things on like that I'm a hardline no on, and then sometimes I like this silliness. That's an extremely fair take. I feel like Caprice is so in on it that I'm in on it. I like a good musical number, steak dinner. I'll take whatever you throw at me, but
keep it.
All right.
Do not open that big CD book up and bring that CD out. Just keep it. I like this a lot. Willow, anytime I get to see Willow, I'm just ecstatic about it because she's a great talent. And the Renegade twins, I've gone on record as saying, are great. They're phenomenal, talented wrestlers. I love them as a tag team. I liked what they were doing here. They're trying to get into the shenanigans, trying to do the old switcheroo. Willow's like, no, you guys aren't twins. Like, I know that's not you. Like, you about to get up out of here. Tried to get one over on Willow, but you can't get one over on Willow. She's on a roll. She's tearing the world up. She's going to try to win a championship soon. Could be Athena's, could be Jade's, could be Jamie Hayter's. I don't know. It could be anybody's. She's the best, and I hope something is going to happen with her soon. It's Ring of Honor's been establishing her as one of the big stars of their women's division. So hopefully soon something will come out of it,
I think I think it is interesting with her because I feel like ROH took longer to get off the ground than they might have expected. And I feel like in that time when they used her on AEW, the way that she got over so fast and became so important and is so reliable in the ring, that might have changed their agenda a little bit, which is a great scenario. So. Like that's a great reason to need to change plans, but it does feel like, okay, she's kind of a side in this what we're assuming, I think, is going to be a blood and guts feud. So then what's next for Willow after, I think, is something that's going to be really interesting.
I mean, that kind of is confusing people because we're like, oh, yeah, we did see her over here doing this thing with Rio, who's also kind of missing. So we thought we were getting this, and now we're getting her over here in Ring of Honor. I understand what you're saying and what a lot of people are saying about establishing where these talents are. It's a lot going on. And I think they have enough talent where this doesn't have to happen. I don't really understand what's going on here.
No, I agree with that entirely. And it's double because there's crossover between the shows, and then there's crossover between the divisions within those shows. So that's where I'm a little hung up. And I thought after the pay-per-view we were going to see tremendous clarity, and it's almost gone the other way. So
totally.
If that's what I'm complaining about, I'll take it because I've got a lot of bigger complaints about a lot of other things. But if I did just want to watch an hour and a half of really great matches, the pool in wrestling right now is pretty damn deep on that, to be honest.
Yeah,
so
totally.
I want my stories back. But
kind of along those lines, though, I do understand, because if it's just an hour and a half of great wrestling, there's a lot of hour and a half of great wrestling throughout the week. And you got to do a little bit more to get people to want to continue to watch your half an hour of wrestling a week. So I don't know if this, what they're doing here, what they have been doing this last couple weeks, is going to be enough to get people to hold on. A hardcore like me, I'm all in, but like somebody that's just trying to establish a new brand and get established with characters and want to care about anything, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, and I think, we didn't see Claudio tonight, and he's doing such important stuff in AEW that I'm like, man, I don't want somebody's title to ever feel like a secondary thing to them ever. So, and just from the perspective of, I like it feeling like an alternative. So that has gotten a little lost in the shuffle with me. A good example of that is actually what we're about to talk about next with this Lance Archer spot. I've been waiting for them to get Lance Archer on track for a little bit. I really like the dude. I think he's fun. I think he is really great at coming across as an intimidating big guy when he's not even like the biggest. He's a big dude, but he's not the biggest dude that they've got. No. He just is violent and vicious. The way he seems to be presented in New Japan, I don't know, something just clicks a little bit more. I liked what they were doing with Jake. He comes out here facing Jah-C. Jah
Caprice and Ian. Jah. They said 50 times, JC. It ain't the fucking dude from the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC, dude. Jah-C.
He did not get cast aside by Justin Timberlake.
Come on.
It's true. It's true.
My bad.
So he makes his entrance and immediately starts attacking Jah-C. Beats him all the way down to the ring. He refuses to shake hands. He's not adhering to the code of honor. And Jah-C gets a couple of strikes in, but Archer just
beats his ass
for the win here. I'm such a little snob today. I'm like, I don't want squashes in ROH because I feel like we've been getting a lot of them. And I like competitive matches in ROH. And a squash is necessary here or there, but like, I also just don't feel like, is Lance Archer going to be on ROH moving forward? This kind of just feels like they looked at the AEW locker room and were like, nah, go out there if you haven't been on Dynamite or Rampage yet. But always happy to see Lance Archer. He's a really, really good talent. Any thoughts on this segment other than Ian and Caprice getting the name wrong?
Yeah, I'm so angry about it. No, shout out to, I really like Jah-C. I just want them to get his name correct. He's a great talent. You saw him on WrestleMania a few weeks ago in Dominic's little entrance thing.
That's right. Him and Dan Barry, baby.
Yeah. Shout out to the homie Dan Barry too. Here he is being squashed by Lance Archer. There's elements of it that I like you said. I think presenting him as the New Japan style, coming out, beating people up. You might get an elbow in the mouth if you're in the front row. You don't know. Just kind of like crazy, scary Lance Archer. But I hate that establishing the big man with squash matches for 500 years. And then nothing ever happens after that because somebody has to beat him up eventually, and then it just doesn't make sense. So just like let this guy fight. He doesn't have to squash everybody because he likes fighting. That's part of his things too. He wants to get punched in the face and respond back to it. But if nobody's giving him any competition, what sense does it make? But shout out to Jah-C for getting a shot here on Ring of Honor. Hopefully see him more. I like a couple of players that were established here. Jah-C could do a lot in Ring of Honor if giving the opportunity and not just being clotheslined out of his little boots.
Agreed. The other thing with Lance Archer squashing people here is we know who he is. Like, he's not.
We already know.
Like, oh, who's this guy? It's like, yeah, it's Lance Archer. He's been here for like 3 years. We're good. Like,
we've seen him do this at minimum 35 times. There's no way. You know?
The way I'm taking the over, if that's the line too.
Right.
Like, we've seen this a lot. I mean, he had like a crazy Texas death match with Adam Page during his title reign. Like, we're very aware of who he is.
We know this. We know who this guy is. Jake the Snake.
Yeah, comes out with Jake. We got it. We're in on Lance Archer. Give me something more. We know he's capable of more. But yeah, and to your point, always happy to see wrestlers getting a payday. Good for Jah-C. If you're gonna take the pain, get that back. Why not?
Yes.
Why not? We got some more super chats and humper chats for you guys. Thank you so much for the support as always. Jam Beard saying, I think them doing all of these extra matches for ROH and Dark and Elevation after Dynamite is hurting the crowds. It should be taped in a different city. Yes. I think it is unrealistic to sustain this pace, and that if Rampage is now going to be your C show, like assuming the Saturday thing, it's 2 hours, it's got CM Punk on it, it's probably going to be a bigger deal. Like, have that and ROH tour together. Like, that needs to be a separate experience. Because the other thing is, you're really doing a disservice to it's the most mismatched environment you can have, because ROH to me has always been the most sports presented thing, and now you're gonna take the most fatigued crowd. So like
they said that Lee and Takeshita match started at 11:15 p.m. and crowds can't and they tried, as we're gonna talk about in the match. They did everything, but that crowd, you just can't. You seen a long wrestling show, it's 11:15 p.m. on a Wednesday or some shit. Like, no, this isn't.
They can't throw pure matches out there at like 11:30 at night, man. There's
no way. You can't do that. You cannot do that.
No way. I think my ideal, if I could do anything with ROH, the studio setup I think works for this product really well. I understand the appeal of wanting it to travel, and if you can pair it off with Rampage, a 1 hour product, with something that's on a streaming service in a customized to your own time product, but probably trying to hit ballpark numbers, that's a great little own show to have be its own thing if you wanted to do that. Or you could piggyback off of whatever this 2 hour show is going to be, right? Like, you could do that as a 3 hour taping experience, Rampage and that, and have ROH find a home in a studio setting again. This just isn't it for me, and I also feel like it's affecting the product in ways that I'm not too big of a fan of. So agreed. The
crowd didn't look it. They had to black out a lot of the crowd. Like what aesthetically wasn't very pleasing.
No, and I feel like, oh my God, I feel like such a snooty little bitch of a whiny fan. I'm like, and I didn't like this, and none of this was bad by any means, but like, I guess comparatively from before the pay-per-view to where it is after, I'm also looking at things like the set is like 90% screens, and you're using the same color scheme as Dynamite. It's like, no, like, make it feel like its own thing again is what I'm rooting for.
That's it. We're just rooting for more Ring of Honor.
That's exactly what it is. Not Wish version AEW. I don't want to go that route. Jam Beard saying the moon dude that Kate is feuding with to join ROH. Listen, all right. I have very specific issues with the moon dude, the Moonlight Sun. He's got mommy issues with the moon. All right.
I don't know.
I go to Excite Commentary. It's in my hometown. Mike Skyros from the Salt City is nothing more than a salty little bitch who comes into my town from Syracuse. Like, Syracuse is some great place. It's not. If you're north of Binghamton, it just means you're cloudy and gray and snowy and cold and stupid. Yeah, I don't like this punk. He's the champion over there. I got a lot of issues with him. If he joins my favorite wrestling product, I'm just gonna I'm gonna give a piece of my mind May 5th and 6th, so stay tuned for that. But Louisville saying just showing support. Well, thank you for just showing support.
Thanks. We
That's how I
appreciate that.
feel. Not a lot to say about things today. So Reggie Simmons also says just showing support. Today is a good day to put 5 on it. Happy 420. Happy 420.
I got 5 on it. Yeah, I don't think $5 gets you anything these days, but if you're helping, if you're putting in a pot and we're all gonna get, your 5 might hit. I don't know. Maybe.
There it is.
Depends on how many of y'all there is.
Look, we're not turning it away. Not here. Not today.
I forget I live in California. People probably can get that not in California. My bad. I don't know. I don't know your experience. I get shit for $5 over here. You can probably do it. Yeah.
In this economy?
Nah, 0%. You guys can't even get a double cheeseburger at McDonald's at this point for $5. Jesus Louises. Oh yeah, we're on a Ring of Honor post show, I think.
We are. We are. Matthew Plus saying ROH should absolutely just tour school gyms.
Honestly.
There's worse ideas than that.
Seriously.
There's worse ideas than that. I love that idea. Back to Lance Archer, Jam Beard agreeing with us saying, can we have the old tossing people through ceilings Lance Archer come back? He hasn't felt the same for almost 2 years. Yeah, when there was someone just at the beginning of the ramp and he would just like pick him up and chuck him out of the way.
Yeah.
That was a good time. That was a good time with Lance Archer. I just want to see him like on a track. So if his appearance in ROH means he's going to be on a track, I'm all for that.
That's it.
But yeah, it felt like they were just like throwing people out there that weren't booked for TV or something.
I go, this guy's here. You want to be on Ring of Honor tonight? Cool. Yeah, go for it.
Also in squash vein, but not the squashiest. Brian Cage defeats Joey Jett in what was a more competitive match than I honestly thought it was going to be.
Yep.
Albert Ponce asking what I'm asking, though, which is, where are the gates of agony? Cage has been solo on television. And he also, this is where it gets messy, Reg. This is why I'm a whiny little biatch today. He's now a part of Mogul Affiliates, right?
Yes.
So, what are we doing?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Shout out to Joey Jett. He got some good offense in here. Much better than I expected. Not like you said, not the squashiest squash of all time. Brian Cage here was in Brian Cage mode 100%. PWG, get my shit in. Brian Cage, like throwing suplexes, F5s. Like he was Brian. This is like video game Brian Cage right here on display.
Yes.
So that was cool. But yeah, there's the Mogul Affiliates thing is there's more to come, so you can't really get into the gates of agony stuff. You know, the motors moving, times running, the butterfly effect. You know, so it's gonna be happening. It's slow motion. Brian Cage just having fun over here for a limited time, but you know,
you sniffing around a little scoopski there.
I didn't say anything. I was just talking out loud.
Man.
But I think there's like already videos of things if you just like connect the dots, open your door.
I don't know though. If maybe I did want to hear more, I could listen to Grapsody on Saturdays. That's all I'm saying.
Very true. That's very true.
That's very true. My thoughts,
but very true.
Yeah, I was glad to see Brian Cage get like an actual match in here. I thought we were gonna get back-to-back squashes, but happy for Joey Jett. This was good. They are your 6-man champions.
They are.
You could do a really fun thing if you wanted to with Shane Taylor. He could at least take one of his guys back from this. There could be a little custody battle if you wanted to do that. There's a lot of ways you can just get the titles off of the embassy if that is the direction that you wanted to go. But keep Prince Nana around because he's just the best. So
I was liking when we were on the taping thing schedules and back at Universal. Having 2 championship matches too was just seeming fun, you know, a couple weeks in a row. Like we need that again. You have the champions there, Athena's there. I'm assuming the Gates of Agony are also there, probably. A little trios match for the championships on this episode. Some stakes. Give something, some reason from people to watch. What?
No pure match, no world title. And no, again, I go back to not really any stories, no 6-man title. One of our tag team champs is injured. But what we do get that is awesome is Miss Athena versus Heather Reckless, who I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
She was not the reckless one in this situation.
There was some recklessness going on here for sure, but she
Not
was
at the hands
not the one giving it up.
of dear Heather. After several power bombs, Athena locks in the submission for the win here. I just wrote several period power bombs period in my notes.
I had forgotten about the power bombs because I remembered the against the guardrail what she was doing to her. I was immediately thinking of that, and then I remembered the power bombs again, and I was like, "Oh my god, those power bombs! Those power bombs!" Athena, careful out there. Heather Reckless, protect yourself, my friend. That was some brutal. I thought I was watching 90s All Japan power bombs of hospital for this young lady. Your head hurts. That's crazy. 5 power bombs in a row that are so stiff that you just cringed every time. Athena's a bully. She's a monster. Somebody needs to come and stop her and beat her for that championship because she can't keep doing this to these women. These women do not deserve these beatdowns. They're just trying to look nice. They're probably telling their family, "You're going to see me on this TV show. It's going to be cool. I'm going to wrestle against the champion." And then their family watches and they just like, "Damn, are you sure you wanted me to watch that?"
My daughter is a porcelain trash hussy. Who knew?
Yes.
I didn't know that about my own daughter. Yeah, that's what happens.
I didn't know.
Find out.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh my gosh, my daughter's in a title match." Oh, turns out she is destroyed.
So. Yeah, it turns out she's dead, actually. Crazy. It's crazy out here. Yeah. Unbelievable. Athena, the Ring of Honor MVP. She is just so tremendous on the mic. The way that she carries herself and the way that she structures the matches, and you just hate her, and she's brutal. She's yelling at fans, and she's just a villain. It's great. I don't ever want her to leave. I want her to be but I kind of want her to beat Jade today. I think Phil might have convinced me on this that I want her to beat Jade now. So
would not be mad about seeing her in Mercedes.
Her and Mercedes is just, I'll cry right now if I thought about it for 30 straight seconds. How excited I'm about it. Mm-hmm.
I think there's so many possibilities out there. And I've said it week over week. She just feels different than any other heel in wrestling, especially on the women's side. Like she's just her own carved out lane of being this like vicious, brutal, and I love how authentically hungry she seems to defend her title. She's like, "Stop giving me this trash. I want a real fight." Like, oh, who doesn't love that? Like, it's nice to see out of women's wrestling, especially. Like, give me that one give me the woman who is like John Moxley levels of hungry for violence. That rules.
Can we get like a crossover? Because I'd love to see her and Deonna go at it. I think that match will be pretty sick. Like,
yes. Her and Deonna would be a great call. A great call.
A fight.
What do you think here? Because we've got Jamie Hayter, who's very involved in this multi-woman storyline. We've got Jade, who's got Taya Valkyrie right now. And we have Athena, who's kind of an open book. And we do have Forbidden Door. And we do have All In and All Out. I think it's very likely that we're getting Hayter and Saraya, right? That feels
I would think so. Yeah.
At least that, maybe a triple threat with Mercedes if they're like trying to jack up the draw a little bit.
I would think so. Yeah, they're gonna work on it at least.
Yeah,
they should.
Do you think that what would you do with this version of heel Athena outside of an ROH context other than Deonna? Like, is there anybody you would want to see from like either this New Japan women's title picture or Joshi World taking on Athena? Is there any dream matches in your head or anything you'd want to see for All In and All Out with Athena maybe?
Well, now the Mercedes match is all I can think of. I can't think of anything. I'm just like, just do the Mercedes match right there, though. I'd like to see her and Jamie Hayter lock it up at some point. If it's not at the All In show, maybe like, because her and Jamie Hayter is like a built-in fight. She brought up Jamie Hayter at the press conference of like, that's a highly, highly anticipated contest. And they're in the same company, so it's not really that far off. She has, they have to give her something big for the show, though. I don't want her to just be like, oh, she's the Ring of Honor's champ, but she's on the pre-show or something dumb like that. Like, she needs a big moment. She needs a big opportunity. Bring one of these Joshi women in, bring in somebody for her to Kyrie, maybe bring in Kyrie. Let's have a good old fashioned contest of great women's wrestling. So I'm excited about what she's going to do in the future. It seems like she might be trying to get over to do more things in AEW from how she's been talking recently. So let's do it. What's happening?
I am intrigued. Prime saying Sheeta for the ROH title. That would be a hell of a matchup. I think Sheeta's a really, 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 really strong call.
That's high
Love
up there.
That. And of course, we got Trinity out there. If she wants to wrestle, there's multiple homes that she can go to that I think would make a really compelling case right now. So very, very cool. Gene Beard also saying Grace might become a free agent, right? If I could keep track of Impact contracts, I think that could be its own salaried position somewhere.
Honestly, seriously, it's like everybody has like so different deals till you never know. One person's like, "No, I had like 3-month deal." It's like, what? What are you talking about? Like,
yeah, and they'll belt you during that 3 months. Like that's always the thing that is both cool and weird about Impact to me. Is like they will belt up people that they don't have signed to contracts, which is great for exposure for the belts if they're taking it to other programs. But they could also just leave you at any time.
We've seen them bite them in the butt a couple times with the Kingdom and Taya. So
yeah, and then they have to go and they K them. They just murder them.
Yeah, which I do also like though. That's super cool. That's like one of the best things that Impact has is like when the character leaves, they really kill him off like a movie, and it's great.
It's hilarious. I love that. That's like a thing that they pretty much commit to. But Jim Beard also saying that her versus Athena, meaning Jordan Grace versus Athena, or her versus Hayter would be great. Hoping Taya beats Jade next week and maybe rerun Grace versus Taya. I don't know where she fits in the picture, and I hate bringing real life drama into things because people are their own people. But she is married to Jonathan Gresham, who was not on the best terms with ROH. I feel like ROH could use Jonathan Gresham, to be honest. I feel like Claudio isn't really doing anything right now. But Jordan Grace is great. I know she just lost her Impact title shot. I don't know the situation with anybody's contracts, much less Impact's, but there is a resources part of the Fightful website, the free website, not even on Select, that keeps track of all that. So God bless whoever is keeping track of it. Because
I can see Jordan over in WWE, honestly.
I could see that. I could see them bringing her in as a missing component to a lot of people that they have right now. I think that could be a really, really fun, a fun ad for them. They could WWE could use it for sure.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of chats coming in. Thank you so much. Actually, Luis is telling us that Fightful Select reported that her contract expired in March, but she is working as a free agent. No idea where that stands now. Thank you, Luis,
Impact.
for letting us know.
Y'all are just very nice people from the sounds of it, I
think. Well, it's tough because they are. It feels like everybody uses it as a launching pad or a place to return. So it's like they never. I feel like what was so special about Josh Alexander's run, and we'll let the Impact crew talk about this, but like it felt like he really wanted to be an Impact to be the Impact champion.
Totally.
Like it didn't feel like I'm here either biding my time or returning from a release. Like it felt very intentional. I feel like Steve Backlund's that way too. I've heard him champion Impact a lot. So looking forward to that. But that, to your point, has not always been the case.
I'm sure Nick Aldis will be like that too. He'll start carrying the flag pretty heavily for them here soon.
I think that was a really good call for both of them to have Nick Aldis there. I think that's going to be a really healthy decision. But Ronald Hollick saying, "Hey y'all, attended Dynamite Live yesterday. Oh, I hope it was fun. And caught ROH before it. Okay, so they taped ROH.
Okay.
Another issue with it is getting 10 or 11 matches crammed into an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah.
Is that how many they did?
Was it 11 matches or 11
Because that's
segments?
Tony Khan. We got to talk, bro. We got to do something else. You can't be doing that to these people. That's crazy. And I want like more drawn out matches. I don't want time constraints. That was the fun of this thing, is there weren't no time constraints.
No, and there was also no filler where I feel like most of this episode felt like filler. So
I think the second half of this show was very strong, Kate. Okay.
I do in the ring, but to what end is the question that follows up after that. But we did get some really good wrestling, and we're going to get back to it. But some more love and support from you guys today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, cool.
Jam Beard saying of Brian Cage, I thought it was the Mogul Embassy now. Cage is still a 6-man champ, so that tells me Gates are still a part of it. Yes, I'm sorry. It was much more of a merger. Okay. Not for $9.6 billion. Nobody's got a creepy little mustache that is dyed 40 years younger than their age, but it was a merger. I look forward to seeing what comes out of it. And God bless Darby Allin for taking the bump he did from Brian Cage on Rampage the other day.
That was brutal.
Yikes. Like 2 days after a car accident. Maniacs.
What a guy.
Maniacs. Jam Beard saying Gresham said recently that he holds no ill will towards Tony Khan and felt like both sides mismanaged what happens. I remember Grace retweeted the article, and not just any article, Louis says. The aggregated article Fightful posted about it.
Wow.
Oh, thank you.
Shout out to McCasman.
Yeah. I would love... He's just so synonymous with ROH to me. Like, he's doing good work and Impact from what I've seen, but I'm like, ROH is Gresham.
He would be he would be carrying an ROH flag forever if they'd allow him to. I think he's gonna come back. Maybe I like that article that you're talking about here. Gave me hope that the return of Jonathan Gresham to Ring of Honor is possible.
Yeah, I hope so too. And Shotgun 29 reiterating the same thing. I love when you guys are just sending in like new stuff. It makes my job really easy, and you're paying us money to talk about stuff we talk about.
That's great.
So probably shouldn't have like let you behind the curtain on that, but I'll take it. Gresham seemed to hint that he was on good terms with TK in an interview with Nick Hausman. Made it sound like he could come back to AEW or ROH after his Impact run. I would hope so. I would hope so. Because it was just such an unfortunate way to play out. It really was. So hopefully
it's the worst.
Yeah, and it's just I love it in any brand when I see the wrestler in the brand that as a viewer, I'm not speaking on anyone's behalf, but I'm like, that's where that person belongs. It's the best feeling. Like I love Stu Grayson coming back. I was like, yes. Like that was one that was like that. In WWE, there's plenty of examples too. Like Maximum Male Models, they're killing it at what they do. That's a WWE thing. Like
totally.
So I like it when I see people in stride under the umbrella that it feels like they are the best fit for. And Jonathan Gresham is, in my opinion, under the best fit in Ring of Honor for sure.
Totally.
So we'll move along. Thank you guys so much for all the love. We get the Dark Order, Silver and Reynolds defeating Lee Johnson and Cole Karter. This was another thing that just felt like it was on the card. I'm such a little. It was great. I loved the double team combination at the end, but like, what is this, Reg? Like, it's the Dark Order and ROH. Are they
Beaver Boys? Yes. This is a place for them to shine. I was very excited to see John Silver and Alex Reynolds here because I think Ring of Honor is a great place for them to be. I get it though, because they just keep throwing stuff at us and we don't know what's going to stick. We don't know who's going to continue to be here. We've seen tag teams on Ring of Honor that we haven't seen since we've seen them the first time 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. So I get it, but this is another great tag team to the division. If they are here to stay, they do have a place here. They don't do a lot up in the regular main roster. So I think this is a cool fit. Cole Karter is fake ass Austin Theory.
Here's the thing. You're not wrong about that. And I also feel like Austin Theory is fake ass Austin Theory. So
also,
that's even worse. Like,
like you're double fake ass yourself. That's crazy. It's a crazy place.
That's a rough one. That's a rough one. I do agree with you. I liked the match a lot. I am also excited that we saw Silver and Reynolds here, and we also saw Grayson and Uno, right? So maybe the whole entity being there is something that is really, really great. Would love to see them versus the tag champs as well. And they could put on bangers with some of these young teams that are there too. I think it would be extremely productive and something different than ROH usually has. Like Dark Order, this version of them versus the Righteous could create some really, really fun chaos that I am all here for.
Let these guys tell some stories, Tony Khan. They could do it themselves. Like, give the guy, like the Righteous guys want to tell stories. Let them tell stories with their own cameras. Let the Dark Order guys tell stories with their own cameras. I mean, we could be telling stories out of the ring also for the show. Just an idea.
I like that. And I also think I feel no nerdier than when I'm like, bring Delirious back for booking. Because Delirious's booking was really good, okay? I was one of the people watching ROH before it shut down.
I wouldn't
I'll tell you
hold my breath for that. You'd be blue like the girl in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Everything made sense. Everything was clean. It was well told. I liked how logical it was.
That's true. He needed a bigger stage to be able to cook on too. So yeah, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, and I think part of that was circumstantial, but the book, I really, really liked. I also forgot to mention that Heather Reckless and Athena was a proving ground match where once again, the proving ground did not come to fruition. But my sister, who does not watch wrestling but listens to me talk about it, God bless her, said, "Oh, it sounds like when you ride a mechanical bull, and the whole idea is like just don't get thrown off."
Yeah,
I was like, that is an alarmingly accurate analogy for someone who does not watch.
She didn't fall off. Yeah. She could maybe get another match. Totally.
That was it, right? Like, it's like all you have to do is not lose. You don't even have to win. Yep. You just have to not lose. Jam Beard saying that at some point, a 4-on-4 versus Dark Order and Mogul Embassy in ROH could be fun down the line. I like that. That
would be fun. Yeah,
that would be really fun. I like that idea too I like it when I like how Dark Order has 2 tag teams within a unit. I feel like in stables there's usually like tag team, little scrappy guy.
Yep.
Really big dude. Having 2 tag teams and 2 really good tag teams is a fun way to go about business. So I am in on that. We'll move along to Penta El Cerro Miedo with, of course, Alex Abrahantes at ringside defeating Nick Comoroto. Shane Monster saying, fun cut thing. Comoroto's music played for a long time before Penta came out. Tired ass crowd broke into living on a prayer because of the similarity.
Yeah, totally.
We got work to do, Tony. We got work to do, but this match was fun. Assuming Phoenix is injured here because of the fact that Penta was flying solo with us. Otherwise, I would imagine they'd be in action, but this was another one that was a little more competitive than I expected it to be, but I was happy to see that. At the end, we got a handshake as a nice sign of respect. We got honor being real. I also noticed, I saw a couple other people notice that the black and white is the closest La Parka looking aesthetic that I think we've had. But it's always such a cool presentation. And shout out to Nick Comoroto because there are little things that I noticed that I really liked from him. His selling was really, really great at the end.
Yeah.
And I loved the little Razor Ramon toothpick action that we saw coming out here. This was pretty fun. And I think a lot of people expected, and I'm one of them, that, this is a place for guys who are in things like the factory to learn and grow before they're ready for TV. Like if you see someone with potential in them, this could be a place where they go to learn and grow before their main roster ready. Comoroto's one of those guys. He's got that Bruiser Brody look about him. I really think this is a lot of fun. What were your thoughts on this match?
Penta's really cool. He did a lot of his Lucha Underground style things here in this match. Snapped Comorato's shoulders, both of them. I like the end of the match where Comoroto couldn't even move his arms to adhere to the code of honor. Comorato's a really fun, big type wrestler that I think, given the opportunity, could do a lot more. He could represent, because they got a lot of guys kind of that size. And what's really cool is they all kind of do something different. They're not all just like Hobbs is way different than Wardlow is, and is way different than Archer is, way different than fucking any of the big men. So, to have another guy like that that's on the come up and potentially could get to where those guys are is always super cool. I'm hoping with everything's okay with Rey Fenix because I want to see the Lucha Brothers as a tag team. I want to see Rey Fenix on my screen all the time. And anytime you see Penta Phoenix is there, and to not see him there must mean something. So hopefully he's all good.
Yeah, hopefully it's not something that serious.
Mm-hmm.
He is someone that just every time he's in the ring, it's a match of the year candidate.
Yep.
Solo, tag team, whatever.
Anything.
He is excluded from the laws of physics that the rest of us are subjected to somehow. But we move on to what are probably back-to-back candidates for match of the night here.
I started eating right here.
This was when things took a sharp turn in the right direction for me in a lot of ways. Yeah. We get Takeshita and Lee Moriarty in what I was expecting to be my favorite match of the night. What followed after gave it a run for its money, but I was not let down on this. A user whose name is anonymous on here said Moriarty versus Takeshita was everything I hoped it would be. Yeah. Full agreement with that. Takeshita, man, winning with a running knee strike here. What do you say about these guys? Like, I loved everything here. Takeshita with someone of Lee Moriarty's size in the ring, just the way he lays stuff in and the way Lee sells. Man, some of those forearm strikes look really brutal. And what can you even say about Lee Moriarty? I think he is one of the people who's been maybe a little bit underutilized that I think could really get a boost here. I feel like that whole faction that's with Stokely could get on a little bit stronger of a track, especially with Stokely now, of course, being retired.
It's tough out here.
It is. But I loved so much about this match. They had incredible in-ring chemistry. Lee Moriarty's amazing, and Takeshita just shows he's every time he's in there, you're just like, that's a star. That is a star wrestler. I'll let you take it from here, Reg.
Yes, beautiful wrestling synergy here. Takeshita and Moriarty previously had a match in Prestige Wrestling that was phenomenal. So I knew coming into this match that they were going to do something special. And they did something special because, as we talked about multiple times on this podcast, that crowd, they just weren't really up for what was being presented to them. They were very excited, and a lot of times Gringo and Vikingo, as we'll talk about next, got them out there. And, certain points of this match got the crowd there. Like, that's how hard Takeshita and Lee were going in this. Seeing Lee in Ring of Honor first is awesome. Another great character that could be established. Pure Division needs him. He's going to do some really fun things. I've been liking his character since he's been with Stokely. I think he's came out of his shell. He's been the Lee Moriarty that I always kind of expected him to be. I think he's 100% doing what he wants to do. And it's just great to see that with the artwork. That shirt that he has out is really dope.
So
if you guys haven't seen it, please check it out on AEW Shop. Really dope. He designed it himself because that's how he gets down. And so to see him here was awesome. To see him in this match with Takeshita, them just showing why both of them are such exceptional wrestlers, why people regard both of these guys as two of the best wrestlers in the world on display here. Lee in all of his glory with his just style, Tiger style, all caps. Don't forget it. Came out here with the mask, came out swagged out, just doing his thing 100%. Takeshita showing why we just love him, and it's so easy to get behind him as a pro wrestler. Seeing that one of the brightest moments of the Not That Great Dynamite of him coming to save the Elite from the BCC, and then to see this match after that with Lee where they're just 100% on, going, turning a crowd that's ready to go and dead into their false finishes, and exactly what happened there and how Takeshita finished it. So this was just beautiful pro wrestling. Two guys that really know how to do it, getting a chance to show it to people close to midnight.
This is ROH, baby. That's what I want to see. Yeah, give me this.
This that ROH shit.
This is, guys, we are coming down the home stretch here. Please leave a thumbs up on this video if you would be so kind. Head over to Fightful Select and subscribe if you haven't already. A lot of CM Punk news, a lot of contract information, a lot more contract information on the way. There's a lot happening. So head over to Fightful Select and get those scoops directly. Don't waffle through other people's interpretations of them. Get them direct.
Come on, you guys, don't do that.
Come on. Plenty more than scoops behind the Fightful Select paywall as well. You'll get bonus podcast episodes. You'll get Sean's Q&A. You'll get figure hauls. Oh my, so much happening. Meet Normus said, "Sup, partners?"
What up?
Missed Eddie Kingston already. That's, you know what? All the things I was cranky about are true, but the real thing that I missed was my Eddie Kingston. But
that's all it is. You could have just said that at first, Kate.
I really could have.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
After that Vikingo Gringo Loco match, I'm convinced physics and gravity don't exist in Mexico.
They don't.
I like your conspiracy theory. I'm 100% in on it. Jeez Louise, that titillated my juices. Did it make your nipples hard like Matt Menard? I think
juices
it did for a lot of people here.
Most definitely titillated during that match.
100%. Sure. Really, really, really strong match. Loved commentary talking about this feud and where it came from off screen, how this had been developed around the world. Because there were no other stories on the show, so it was nice to have one, but always love Ian and Caprice. Even when they're rapping, I know. But really, really good stuff here. Your Triple A champion retaining, though, with the 630 senton to win. But, man, Reg, these matches are a lot of fun. What did you think?
This is what they call supreme spot foo, baby. On the spot foo Richter scale, it is broken. This is everything you could want, and seeing these two names on a thing together. Great to see Gringo Loco here in Ring of Honor, on TV, in all of his glory. Tremendous wrestler out of Chicago. Been doing tremendous things in GCW. And he's done some dope things in Japan too. Not Japan, in Canada and Demand Lucha. He's doing some dope shit in Warrior Wrestling. Both of these guys, you can see them do some stuff together in Warrior Wrestling. This match right here was a showcase of all showcases. They start out ridiculous. Fucking Vikingo somehow ends up on top of Gringo Loco's shoulders. Just like magic. How did the two people do this? Seen Claudio do this spot before with El Generico and PWG. Yes. Blew my brains out. They did it again here. And so then they get to the floor. Vikingo flips and lands on his back on the floor, takes a bump on the floor. Gringo follows it up with the tope. Crazy, crazy stuff going here. One point, Gringo hits a top rope avalanche, gorilla press slam, sit out style. He hit a reverse power slam into a sit out. There's so many crazy spots in here. Vikingo's doing all kinds of wild shit, flips. He's doing 630 splashes. He's doing Phoenix splashes from the rope, the second rope, from the outside of the ring to the inside of the ring. This is just back in the day, you would see Rey Mysterio and Psychosis, or Rey Mysterio, Juventud do these matches in all these different promotions. You see them do it in Mexico, then you see them come and do it in ECW, then you see it go and do it in Japan. And it's like they just have these one matches, these one rivalries on display throughout the country. And this is the type of thing. And you would see that match on Nitro, you would see that match on a random ECW TV. And to get that same style here is just so nostalgic and beautiful and great way for discovery of pro wrestlers that need to be seen. And Gringo Loco is a wrestler that needs to be seen. And for him to have a perfect showcase in this match against Vikingo is like, man, I love pro wrestling. This is everything I could want and need. More flips. I don't give a fuck. Jim Cornette, you could tag all your little pussy Vince Russo's, Disco Inferno. You could tag all those fuckers. It doesn't fucking matter. This is that heat right here. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
They do not. This was super fun. Also, a nice follow-up in an episode that I didn't feel like had any flow. From someone who was there live, if you can clarify for me, because it sounds like what I'm from what I've gathered, there were episodes before and after, or matches before and after in the same episode, which, yeah, of course it's going to be terrible. Like, the flow is not going to work if you are chopping together. You cannot Frankenstein wrestling shows like that. So that would make a lot of sense. But I liked these being back to back. This was really nice because these matches felt very, very different to me. This was an absolute showcase. We could see more of this. Really, really, really great stuff. And
strong.
In a stunning upset, this is the first time that I think we have had super chats that have not been the most about Athena. The most super chats have come in for this. So we got Shotky29 saying Gringo Loco and Vikingo felt like a match TK booked just for Reg.
Honestly.
The spottiest of spot foo to have spotted a spot foo.
That's it. Let's go, baby. To have spotted a spot foo. Damn,
I love it. I love it. Thank you for the chat.
In motion.
Mario Judah saying,
Mario Judah
is big bear, big dog. He's a lion.
Straight up.
Ricardo saying, Joe and Boom Boom was great. Vikingo and Gringo Loco ruled. Yes. Very. I like when there's a lot of stylistic diversity in my wrestling. So good stuff here. We also got a promo from Gringo, and it sounds like he's not done here. It sounds like there's more to happen because even though he got the L, it sounds like he had some conversations with Tony Khan, which is a W in my book.
Tony Khan came out and hugged him. You know how that goes when he comes out hugging people. So
everybody on the internet gets mad for some reason, and then they get signed.
That's what I was talking about. Yep.
Well, I was very excited to see this because I've been whining for the Iron Savages for a while now. I think they're a great tag team, and I was very happy to see them here.
Yes.
We got the Workhorsemen the week before. You're not the only one that can put in requests to Tony Khan, apparently, right?
I see. No, it's
I
working.
Got some juice. I'm not making CM Punk cry yet, but I'm getting a couple things. I'm getting my shit
he is coming back, though, and you are a CM Punk fan, so you got a little bit of influence out here. I see what's going on.
I may not be the media man, but I've got reams, damn it. Some of them include the Iron Savages.
Let's go. That's it.
They defeat Ren Jones and Logan Lynch in what was mostly a showcase of what they can do. Where I didn't really like the squash before with Lance Archer. I don't mind that this was essentially an exaggerated squash because we haven't seen a lot of them. Exactly. I feel like this is like a little bit more of an introductory thing. So I was way more okay with that here than with Lance Archer because we all know who Lance Archer is. Not everyone knows about the Iron Savages. They just see this blonde white girl complaining about it every Thursday on Fightful. So this was really, really great to see. They're really good. Like I think today was a nice sample of it, but you're going to see a lot more out of them if they let it happen in the future. They're a really great tag team and they can do a lot more than just like do big guy stuff. I think we're going to get to see a lot of great work out of them. Mostly them hitting their finishers and their big moves here, but great stuff. Hope they stick around and do more. Any thoughts here?
I want to see your boys here against the other boys that you are very happy with that you just brought up against the Workhorsemen. I want to see Iron Savages against the Workhorsemen because that's a brawl, that's a fight. Like I said, the tag team division is really getting established. Both teams in the Dark Order, Iron Savages, Workhorsemen, Infantry, Kingdom. There's just a bunch of talented tag teams, the tag team champions, the Lucha Bros. So this is another, I want to keep saying it, great addition to the roster. I love this tag team, and I think they're going to be a great addition.
Agreed. And I do have to say, in my head, the last match was the main event. I completely forgot. I forgot that. I'm so excited to see them here. The sequencing of this all felt weird. Of course, you're going to close with Samoa Joe and your TV champion, but it felt like such a main event with Vikingo and Gringo Loco that I was like, all right, I got to start prepping for the. Oh no, there's 2 more matches. Get it together, Kate. But the flow of this felt very, very off in that regard. Very happy to see them. Looking forward to seeing what they can do in the future. And I'm going to book them against the Workhorsemen. I'd be very excited.
Right.
Guys, get in your super chats and your humper chats after this. We are going to pass the show off to the Impact crew. A lot happened at Impact on that pay-per-view. It was a really strong showing, especially considering they lost 2 of their champions to injury, and Mickie James and Josh Alexander. Steve Macklin taking his rightful spot as the champion. They were building that way anyway, I think, but really good to see. We're going to hear I guess there was a changing of the guard segment, which makes me happy. Deonna Purrazzo, also rightful champion after beating Jordan Grace, as we alluded to earlier. So good stuff there. And I know Joel went to the Impact tapings that were in Toronto, I believe, on Monday. So,
sweet.
Yeah, so some good stuff. Stay tuned for the wonderful Cresta and Joel. They will be on right after this. Ronald Hollick saying this week they only taped ROH prior to Dynamite. Yeah, see, this is tough because it's like everybody's either getting their beer before they go to settle in, or which for Dark, I actually don't hate that idea. Kind of feels like it all belongs. But otherwise you're taping it at like midnight. So
when if going to an AEW show and if the tickets like doors are at blah blah blah, but the fights start at 4:00 or whatever, people don't really care. They're like, I'm going to Dynamite. So again,
that makes sense. I'm thinking I'm East Coast, right? So it's you're going in at 6-7 o'clock or whatever.
I'm thinking I'm West Coast. Here I go.
No, that makes sense. Because it's like people are still getting out of work at that time or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's an entirely different vibe. I also just think about like, I wouldn't want to be a cameraman that had to work an 8-hour day. Like, that would break
crazy.
your body. That's rough. That is rough. But we move along to our main event, Samoa Joe versus Colt Cabana, which is a fun nostalgia play here. Nice to see Colt Cabana back. We got a promo from him earlier in a Brewers jersey, which is very suspicious to me.
Interesting.
You're from Chicago.
Yeah, I didn't really
come on now.
But then they said that he was at the Brewers game earlier, so but I was confused for a minute. I
understand it.
Chicago, dude. What do you mean?
I'm that girl that, like, if I'm going to Fenway or City Field, I'm wearing my Yankee jersey. That's just me. I'm an issue in that regard. So good for Colt Cabana for being reasonable. I am not, but a short match here. Glad to see Colt Cabana back. I don't know what his role in ROH is and will be moving forward. I think he's part-time at least, like coaching and agenting and backstage. Because when he re-signed, I think that was part of the deal. But he's great in the ring. He's kept his bump card low for the past few years. Can't hurt. Very reliable. Can work with anyone. A fun nostalgia play with Samoa Joe here.
Almost anyone.
Almost anyone. Anyone that'll be appearing on the ROH brand, we'll say, in the near future at least.
Can't work Saturdays.
I don't think he'll be working Saturdays. I think there's a brand split, Reg, and it's not going to take a draft to get there. But this was a perfectly suitable go home, super predictable ending. Again, I like my standings, I like my stories, but a good match. Very nice to see Samoa Joe back. I was getting thirsty for some championship defenses on this episode. Gimme. So nice that this is what we closed with. Any thoughts on this match?
Great to see Colt Cabana here. I like the little promo that he did earlier to kind of establish. He said, I wrestled Samoa Joe for the Ring of Honor World Champion and the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. So this feels like a great thing to be able to wrestle him for the TV championship. Samoa Joe is just the baddest motherfucker in the world, though. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the ring. Eventually, they're going to be tapping out to the Coquina Clutch, as they always do. Samoa Joe is so cool. Didn't establish any. I was waiting for maybe a challenger to come out and be like, I want you next, or like something. But they were just like, nope, you choked him out. That's the show. Have fun, you guys. We're out of here. I want to know something. I like this open format challengers thing every week. But I also want somebody to be like, I want that belt, Samoa Joe. I'm coming for your ass. You know, it's not that hard.
Like Mark Briscoe was like, that's my destiny. And then he was like, nope, guess not. Bye.
Not so much. That was my destiny 3 weeks ago. I'm over it.
Yeah, I got a new destiny now. I need my stories back a little bit stronger, but good enough to go home with. That Coquina Clutch is nasty. And I really like Samoa Joe as a face, but man, when he's a bad guy, that is the way to go. Jam Beard being a meanie, saying this. I hope the Suckies lose 100 games. No team deserves it more than that New York team.
Stiff.
Boston fan. And no wonder you're angry. I would be angry if I was a Red Sox fan too, because your ownership doesn't know what the hell they're doing this year.
Well. Mm-hmm.
Baseball talk. We're not supposed to be that intense. It's 420. We're supposed to be chilling, hanging out.
Exactly. Kicking it. Okay.
Yeah, we're supposed to be relaxing. We got Beard saying, referring to my anger towards the Moonlight Sun. Mike Skyro saying, Kate, if that's the case, you should put on a ski mask and attack Lunar Man from behind. Look, I'm just here to talk shit. Okay, I go to XI commentary. I talk
trying
shit
to
on the
get you
desk.
to take Sean Ross Sapp advice, and I don't know if you should. I don't know if you should follow in his footsteps.
No, I would get a huge pop though. Let's
That's true. That's true.
That.
That's true. It would be very different. Like people would actually be like, "Oh, that's somebody we know."
I just want to like look cute and talk shit. I'm not taking bumps. I'm not none of that. But I will talk. I will talk.
Yes.
Jane Beard saying I hate the Red Sox almost as much as Kate. Okay, well at least see we have an alignment.
Okay.
We have an alignment there. I appreciate that. But
look at that. That's growth.
that is growth. That is growth, Reg. Hey, we're gonna bring on Joel Pearl, and we'll bring on Cresta when she comes in with whatever facial hair I'm sure she is preparing for this. But I'm actually glad Joel's in a little bit early because we can let him know our thoughts on ROH. But because you went to the Impact tapings and because we have new champions on both sides of the coin there. And here's the beautiful Cresta. We summoned her right in. What up?
Happy 420, y'all. I wanted to wear green, and that wasn't going to happen. So we have a cool backdrop.
See? Look at you. That's great. Happy 420 to all you beautiful people.
Look at this effort from Cresta. My God. I threw up a couple action figures
today.
I know, but look at you. You look beautiful.
All right, tell me about this changing of the guard segment because Kate got my interest up on this. What is this, Joel?
So being there live, first of all, I'm exhausted today. So I got to say, going to the tapings on Monday was great because I didn't have to pay much attention to tonight's show. Because I took so many notes. I just went to my Impact doc and I was like, oh God, they didn't edit out any of this, which is great because it shows the night was good. So they do changing of the guard with Macklin. We're going to talk about it later, but he essentially runs down the crowd, says that he deserves this, and says that no one can get to his level. Challenges Canadians to a fight. Scott D'Amore comes out, and they tease another fight between D'Amore and Macklin. And then D'Amore's like, you're going to face another Canadian. You're going to face a perfect Canadian, Perfect Creation 1. So it's PCO and Steve Macklin Under Siege, which is going to be in London, Ontario, Canada, which it's about a 2-hour drive for me. Now, when they announced this at the tapings, I was like, I don't want to go to London anymore. I don't want to go see this match. And then I remembered that they did this match before, and it actually turned out really good. So I'm on the fence if I want to go to London or not. But even if I don't, this could actually be a fun main event. And listen, everyone's expecting PCO to lose. That's fine.
Yeah.
But for a first opponent for Macklin to have to overcome a big dude, that's cool. I'm fine with that.
Right.
You gotta put the young guys over like PCO, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Those young spry PCOs of the world need to
Sure, Bully Ray will be next somewhere.
Please, guys. No mas.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys, I'm sorry.
Nowhere.
My trauma.
I'm sorry. I know.
Anyway, the good news is next week is also one of the Toronto tapings, so I can do what I did this week.
True.
I was not happy when he said a Canadian. I was like, I'd rather see Scott D'Amore. But now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like we did see this. But I'm like, PCO, come on.
So it's funny because we sat here during our Rebellion post show, Cresta, and Yumi and Jensen were like, what do we do with PCO now that he beat Eddie Edwards? And we had no idea what to do.
That was what they were gonna do. Yeah,
that's what they're gonna do. PCO got a win at Rebellion. It was a statement win for him. So why not? Macklin's had this whole thing against Canadians, a vendetta. So you give him the most famous Canadian on the roster right now.
Oh, come on now. I mean, listen, I like PCO, but I would like it to be a little less predictable. You couldn't pay PD Williams for an hour of his time. You couldn't.
He's backstage producing matches.
But you could pay him for an hour of his time. You couldn't pay him in cheeseburgers or something. I'll help you. I'll Zicky Dice. I'll pay for his travel. I don't know.
I'm sure Vince McMahon and Paul Levesque are very eager to let Petey
They
Williams.
won't even notice. I will put on my beard and I'll be Petey Williams.
Yeah, it'll work. They won't even know.
Nobody
Petey's been here the whole time. He's right there.
They won't notice.
They won't notice the difference.
Agreed.
PCO is definitely a choice.
Listen, not my first choice, but also like Under Siege is an Impact special. It's not a pay-per-view. It's one of those like you spend $5 for service. So like give them again, this is like what we said about Eddie Edwards and PCO as a match. We were like, we don't want to see this, but it ended up being an entertaining match. Right. So like we're probably gonna go in being like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then they'll over deliver and we'll be like, okay, cool match. Did we care? No, but was it fun? Yeah.
True.
Fair enough.
Okay, I'll give you that. I don't like it, but I'll give you that.
That's fair. Liz, I told you on Monday I was not the biggest fan of it either, but then I was like, I thought about it, and then I was reminded like it's happened before and it didn't suck, so I'm willing to give it the time.
It happened before and it didn't suck.
That's it. That's all you got to say.
That's where the line is. That's where the line is.
The bar is in hell, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, it'd be like that.
All right. Tell me about ROH
right.
real quick. I know you guys are gonna get out soon, but like, what happened here? Because Kate, I know you weren't like the biggest fan, and I was making jokes at sour ROH scraps tonight. I know Reg, you're usually pretty like even keel, happy about the show. So like, what's going on? What happened?
I normally am.
No, I know, but like, come on, you also co-host a sour grap show for WWE programming,
Well,
so
NXT
you're not afraid.
sucks. I love ROH.
No, but my point is like you're not afraid to tell people when you don't like something, and you know I know Reg is also pretty good about that stuff too. But you know I'm curious what happened that y'all maybe didn't like everything tonight.
It just since they've removed it from the studio setting, it's felt to me more like another hour of AEW kind of instead of ROH's like identity and footprint that it always is. I think the crowds have been exhausted with the length of these Dynamite tapings, and we just haven't seen like the new stories kick off from the post pay-per-view cycle. Like nothing is really like drawing you in from the story side, and I'm like, well, if I wanted to watch 90 minutes of really good matches and not much story, I have a lot of that out there in wrestling already. I think they'll get back to it, but it is kind of just like show me ROH, not another Rampage episode or whatever.
That's light.
But that being said,
today, Bakingo versus Gringo Loco blew everybody's tops off. It was an amazing match, an amazing showcase for both gentlemen. Worth the $9.99 alone, worth whatever heartache came with that crowd not being interested in watching wrestling at 11:15 p.m., 11:30 p.m. But these guys did it. If you want to watch one thing from the show, definitely Bakingo and Gringo Loco.
Yeah, Bakingo, I was sold.
That's right. No, that sounds wild. I was looking forward to that match, and I'm glad that it paid off. So I'll probably go back and watch that.
Takeshita and Lee Moriarty as well. Fantastic stuff.
Phenomenal.
This Athena version of herself is maybe my favorite women's wrestling run in a really long time. It's been incredible. So some good. My complaint's never the in-ring or the quality of matches that we're getting at ROH. I just want to see them get back to their wheelhouse, but definitely some really good stuff in there still tonight.
Right.
Cool. Oh, sounds like I'll have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, definitely. Enjoy Talking Impact and Cresta, your very cool backdrop. God bless you.
I mean, it took me so much time to Photoshop this. If you guys need any work done for your backgrounds, Sean Rossat, Kate, Reg, Grab City, I got you. Very cool, very well produced.
For sure.
It is.
Balanced too. Like, I can't see a sliver of the actual back of anything.
No.
I mean, and if you do, poke your eyes out.
Oh, okay.
True.
Put a titty in my mouth. Poke my eyes out.
I mean, they could do them both at the same time if you're really lucky.
All right. It was off the rails again. Yeah. Peace. Things are going off the rails.
So much fun talking Impact. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I look forward to hearing about the two new champions we've got over in Impact.
Yep.
Let's go.
Peace.
Thank you.
Take care, y'all.
Hi, guys.
And then
Just
there were
the
two
of us.
It's
It's Reg again.
Oops, sorry.
Hey, Reg.
Bye, Reg.
Okay, he's gone. He's gone.
Hello, Reg. Wait, hold on. Now I have to fix my camera.
I gotta get Kate to send me that stupid background.
You want my very cool backdrop?
I kind of like it.
Very cool, very professional. Totally 2 out of 10 would recommend.
Oh yeah, most professional.
The most professional wrestler. Brian Myers took my gimmick.
Before the audio people get their share, Jambier with the super chat saying, Joel, you need to enlighten these co-hosts about Canada, starting with the TV shows Corner Gas and Student Bodies. Bret Hart and Trish Stratus did the animated Corner Gas shows. That's how Sean got his interview with Bret Hart, was because they were supposed to talk about Corner Gas, the animated series, and they were told, oh, you have to talk about the show with Bret Hart. And then Sean ended up talking to Bret Hart about wrestling for almost an hour.
That's cool, bro. That's like, yo, if that was me, I'd be like, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up, don't fuck it up. That's cool, though.
Bret just didn't care. And also whoever was like in the background from PR, Corner Gas, they didn't care. It was like Bret wasn't giving any reason for Sean to stop. So they just went with it. But yeah, check those out. Check out that interview. It's on the Fightful channels. And Student Bodies is an old show. I used to watch Student Bodies when I was like much younger kid. It's a good show. You can probably find that on YouTube too. Ross from Are You Afraid of the Dark? He's on that one. Yeah, Lance Storm is also on that Corner Gas animated show, because Brent Butt is like, who his name is Brent Butt. He is the creator. He's also a Canadian. He is the guy behind the Corner Gas show, and he's a wrestling fan. So there you go.
I learned something today. Not only are we educational out here, we have the yucks, but you learned something.
Yeah, exactly. So are we ready to go?
I have my notes ready. I opened them up. I'm ready for the jokes. I'm ready for the jokes.
I'm ready not to choke then. All right, here we go. This is for the audio folk, by the way, if you don't know. And a 3, 2, 1. Hello, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful.com. It is 4/20, April 20th, 2023. Let's talk about some Impact Wrestling. I am at Joel Pearl. I am joined, as I am weekly, by the number one, my ride or die, my favorites. Cresta Stars here. Hey, Cresta, how are you?
I am nearing almost singularity. My birthday is in 12 days. It is 4/20. It's the start of Taurus season. So be prepared. I am excited. I am here. And what a good show of Impact tonight. What did you think of it, Joel?
So I said it on the crossover. And of course, again, if you're listening in audio, I don't include the crossover in our banter because I want you to listen to it exclusively on YouTube. I'm tired today. I saw all of this before on Monday when they taped it. Obviously, I didn't see any of the backstage segments. Those are always kept from the crowd, which is fine. But the matches and also having a segment be a main event means I saw like 80% of what they showed tonight already. And I'm glad that I did because it was a fine show. But like watching it back a second time, I didn't need to watch it a second time. Put it like that. I had notes. I knew what I saw. I knew what I liked. I knew what I didn't like. There was a lot more good than bad, but this was very much a cleaning up after Rebellion show, celebrating the new winners, the new champions, and then like hinting at stories, but not going anywhere just yet because we're fresh off of a pay-per-view. So that's how I felt. How did you feel about it, Cresta?
I thought the whole show itself was cool. I enjoyed it. I liked it. My only complaint is, like we said in the crossover as well, I did not like the whole PCO being Macklin's first challenger. Now that I've had some time to think about it, it's not that I think that the match is going to be bad. I don't like the idea of it being A, so predictable, B, not for nothing. I feel like there's younger Canadian talent on your roster that you could have utilized in this situation to put the eyes on someone. Not saying that PCO was bad by any stretch of the imagination, but me personally, I want to see that. Maybe that's a rude thing to say. Let me rephrase that. I think there's a better use of both men's time.
We're going to talk about it more, but I'll tell you this much. I don't mind it because I know that this is the first title defense for Macklin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm willing to just let this be a story that comes and goes, and whatever happens to PCO next, because again, I don't expect him to win the title right off of Macklin's big win. I expect whatever happens next is going to be PCO's story and not Macklin, They're going to keep setting up big challenges for Macklin, leading to this Nick Aldis, Steve Macklin pay-per-view match, which probably won't happen until Slammiversary, and that's not until July, mid-July. So you got plenty of time until then. You got to tell a few stories here.
I mean, but if we're talking about continuing PCO's story, that man's about to get cheated out his boots by Eddie Edwards and Lynch, because Lynch just really ran down on Scott D'Amore tonight, looking ahead, saying, why don't you do something about this PCO problem? And now PCO's getting a world champion title shot? I think not. I think absolutely not. You know what I mean? So it does give the air of predictability, which can be fun. But put a little razzle dazzle on it. And plus, it is coming off of his big win. So whoever he would have named, everyone's eyes, the Impact faithful, if you will, our eyes would have been on that person. So again, I just think there's a better person to warm that up to, even if it is a loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I just don't know who that could have been. They wanted it to be a Canadian. There's no other face.
Scott D'Amore.
Scott is not going to work an Impact main event match. Stop it. But what I don't want you to stop right now is leaving a thumbs up on this video. Go ahead and do that if you're watching on youtube.com/Fightful. If you're listening to us in the audio realm, please, and thank you. Leave us a 5-star review. Do that on all the shows. Well, do that for all the shows because it's really for the channel. Show us some support. We appreciate that. I see Speedball is being shouted out in the chat. Yeah, Speedball and Macklin is down the line. I know that for sure. So we'll see where that goes. And by the way, you can donate a super chat to say stuff like Speedball and get it read on the air, because we love you and we love it when you support us financially if you can. That little dollar sign at the bottom of the chat here on YouTube. Any amount, get your question statement read on the air, or you can head over to humperchats.com. Cresta, tell them why.
When you head over to humperchats.com, you can write anything you want in those comments, but keep it cute or else me and Joel will call me break your legs. Go to humperchats.com. We keep a little bit more of the donation. You get your chat read on air. We love it. Sean loves it. Keeps the lights on. Humperchats.com. Ding.
Ding. Bing bong. Sorry.
Bing bong. Fuck your life.
I was just waiting for it. So we open up BTI with our new best friend, George Iceman. And I said this on the Impact Rebellion post show. Cresta, I got to meet George Iceman at Rebellion.
Get all the scoops.
I got to meet him again on Monday at the tapings because guess who brought me to my VIP seating area seats? None other than the Iceman himself.
Also, you're Hollywood. So long, friend. Soon you'll be lost to the ethos.
Okay, let me explain this because I know there are people who don't know about Rebel Nightclub as it is. They call it Rebel Entertainment Complex in Toronto. That's where they were taping Impact, and that's where Rebellion was held. It's a nightclub. And there's VIP sections that are literally just beyond the seating where you guys were looking at the chairs all night on the TV. Just behind that, it's like VIP seating, which is a bunch of couches and like stripper poles. I'm not even kidding, stripper poles. There's like, there are stripper poles all
I want to
around.
go. Canada sounds fun.
This venue is wonderful for so many reasons. Anyway, so I was seated in the couch. I was seated actually, Cresta, in the exact same seat that I wasn't even placed, that I picked at Rebellion 2019, I think. This is when we still liked Tessa Blanchard, and her daddy was there.
Oh, wow. That was like a millennia ago in wrestling years.
It was a long time ago. But anyway, I was back in those seats, which, by the way, they were great seats. Like I really had a fun time. And anyway, Mr. Iceman knows about us now. He knows about what we do. He knows about our love for him. And we follow each other now on the social media. So clearly that means something.
Come on, George Iceman. We're practically best friends. Let's be delusional together.
Oh, besties now. That's right. Talking about scoops. We're DMing each other the scoops, George Iceman and I. I'm really glad that I got to make that connection.
Yeah, Joel, you're him.
I'm a lot of things. I don't know if him is it. Anyway, so Iceman rehashes the Macklin D'Amore and all this stuff from Rebellion, everything that went down in that semi-main event, and then he mentions the changing of the guard ceremony that happens later tonight, and then he says someone else has their eyes on Macklin. Who could it be? Well, we find out, as we've already spoken about, it's PCO, and Scott D'Amore was the one who made sure that their eyes had PCO on them. And then we had a match with Heath and Rhino taking on Jack Price and Shogun. This was the only match that I missed from Monday because I arrived. It's a long story.
Wow, talk about journalistic integrity,
Buddy, no. This venue, as beautiful as it is on the inside, it is the biggest pain in the ass to get to on the outside. If you're watching this right now and like you can do split screen or you're on multiple whatever, just open your Google Maps and search Rebel Nightclub in Toronto and like look at where it is in relation to, I don't know, the CN Tower, which is a very central location. It is not.
I'll do that later. I don't want to look unprofessional.
It's hard, but my point is, it's hard to get to. So I was late. It happens. Anyway, I ended up watching this match on BTI because I did want to see it. What I did see were Heath and Rhino getting the win live. So I was able to go back and watch it. I loved that this match was like the two teams were evenly matched. You know, Shogun and Rhino have similar builds. Heath and Jack Price are smaller than Shogun and Rhino, but you know, Heath is a little bit bigger given that he's one of those ex-WWE guys. He's imposing. It's like Cardona. You don't expect him to be as big as he is compared to everyone else in wrestling. They're both Impact gut check guys, are Shogun and Price. They put on a good match with Heath and Rhino. Heath and Rhino ultimately get the win. The gore on Shogun. I want to see Rhino and Shogun have a one-on-one match now because they're so big, meaty men.
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Good. And now I guess they're telling the story again where Heath and Rhino are climbing the tag team division. Other than that, was there anything in the match that you liked or didn't like?
Big, meaty men slapping meat. I mean, it was a good showing for Shogun, like especially because he really got worked over in the first part of the match, showing that he can be vulnerable. And then there was a part in the second half of the match where him and Rhino were just being real stiff to each other. Like you said, I would love to see them one-on-one with each other. But again, I am a connoisseur of big, meaty people slapping meat. I don't care what you identify. Are you big? Are you meaty? Are you slapping meat? So yes, I thought it was a good match. I was sports entertained.
I'm reading that Impact has a post show on YouTube now.
Where?
We are the post show Impact.
Oh wow! When? Since when?
I don't believe it. And if it happens, I'm gonna have to go back. They've had it before. I guess they're bringing it back.
Are they stealing our thunder? I mean, they could just hire us.
Yes, Daddy, Scotty,
Scott Tamore.
Let's talk.
What's going on? Your son.
I'm right here. I can do the show for you. Anyway, so Heath and Rhino pick up the victory. We'll see where they go in the tag division, and then it's Impact time. It's time for the main card. Oh, they're like 12 minutes. They're post show. Well, we can do an hour for them as long as they pay us.
We last for sure longer.
And if you want to last, nope, they don't give us any of that, so we don't do it here. Time Machine opens up the show. They're taking on the team of Trey, Miguel, Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Jonathan Gresham. Time Machine, of course, are the Motor City Machine Guns and Kushida. I found this match very random. I was very much here for it because it was such a fun match.
It was a long match.
It was a long match, and it didn't feel that way when I watched it live. That being said, I found it very interesting that every single man in this match were losers except for Trey Miguel at Rebellion.
That's true. But he did cheat to win. So are you really? No, you are a winner. Cheat to win. If you don't cheat and you lose, you only cheated yourself.
That's right. So Trey Miguel, who was the only winner of this entire group of 6 men in this match, ended up losing this match because we had to even out everybody.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I didn't hate it. I actually really love this match, and it does set up some X Division fun in the future. So talk to me about the match. Time Machine does get the win, and what I alluded to before is Chris Sabin pinning Trey Miguel, the X Division champion, and they're starting to maybe tease that Chris Sabin could be heading off to an X Division championship match down the line.
So I love Trey Miguel. But his ego got the best of him almost at every turn in this match between him. And I mean, even too, just on that side, they were always arguing with the ref. At some point, you don't need to argue with the ref. Focus at the task at hand. Poor Speedball got beat up for that first third of the match. They were taking turns. At one point, Takeshita and I believe Shelly had Speedball where one has his neck and the other one has his legs, and then Saban was running back and forth with a knee to the face, and these two were just arguing with each other about who's going to tag in next. It's like, of all the things that are going down. So it's like, I was telegraphed to me that they were going to lose, but that's okay. But also, it was like when Saban kicked when Shelly kicked Saban in the face when he had Gresham on the outs, I was like, wait a minute, are Time Machine just becoming losers? Because they've been on a losing streak. If you include everything else, they lost, I believe, the IWGP titles over that weekend.
The New Japan Strong Openweight Championship.
My apologies.
No, that's fine, because there's
a
many
lot of
tag titles in New Japan, and this is a New Japan USA title. Yeah, Motor City Machine Guns had a shit weekend, and so did Edward.
Yeah. I mean, but Edward learns how to use shit and turn into manure and make something grow out of it. He's always in somebody's title scene, so I respect it at some level.
How he got a match with Kenta for the Openweight Championship in New Japan. Anyway, let's talk about Time Machine.
So yeah, like I thought that for that brief moment that they might lose, but Trey taking the pin is quite interesting. And all I can hear in the back of my mind is justice for Black Taurus.
He is a great, great bull, let me tell you. Yeah, they had so many fun spots in this match, by the way. I love they kept hitting. Time Machine did the arm bar. They just kept doing the twist your arm spot on Trey, every single one of them in a merry-go-round style as Trey's just selling it. I thought that was fun. Trey's selling was so good in this. There was a stretch fest. It was so much fun. Gresham using Shelly's foot to take down Kushida and then bridge him in a German suplex right after that.
Beautiful visual.
Yeah, really good stuff. They do a triple submission spot that I liked. It ruled watching it live. You had the hoverboard lock from Kushida on Trey Miguel. You had a single leg crab from Saban on Speedball. And then you had Alex Shelley with the Border City stretch on Jonathan Gresham. And then Trey gets triple teamed again by Time Machine. Gresham stops them from triple teaming Trey, but it ends up with Speedball ultimately hitting the Ultima Weapon on Chris Sabin. But none of that matters because Chris Sabin gets the win, hitting the Cradle Shock on Trey Miguel. And if I had to guess, Under Siege is going to be Trey Miguel defending the X Division Championship against Chris Sabin, and I'm here for that. I'm fine. Like, I don't need Motor City Machine Guns as the tag team in every single Impact event.
No, agreed. I will say, and I've said it a million times on this channel, that Motor City Machine Guns is one of those teams in Impact that'll always be good in any iteration. Even them in Time Machine right now, you could put Saban, Shelly with Kashida, and it would still be a solid team. Even if all three of them went their separate ways, it would still be a solid individual wrestlers. So I'm excited for it. I somehow feel like it's not going to be a one-on-one, though. I feel like Trey Miguel is going to weasel it, or let's talk about the systematic oppression of Jonathan Gresham, though, because I feel like Jonathan Gresham is feeling like an afterthought in a lot of these things, and I don't like that. I don't like that.
Orion Ben sends us a super chat earlier. It says, Gresham or Speedball, which one gets Macklin's shot first? So obviously we know PCO gets it, but between Gresham and Speedball, I think Speedball gets it first. I think Gresham is poised for a heel turn in Impact. I don't know. Again, I don't know how much longer his contract is. That hasn't been discovered by anybody. But yeah, it's Gresham could be doing more. And I think you and I have discussed this on multiple occasions. That being said, next week there will be some seeds planted, I think, that get you a little bit closer to maybe, putting some things together as to where some people are going to land on the babyface and heel spectrum.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'll give it time because I do have faith in Impact to always tell a decent story with most people. You know what I mean? It's just that for me, Gresham is kind of falling into the area where not Ace Austin, Chris Bay was, and kind of where Rich Swann was, where it's like, you're really good and you come so close, and you're just losing. And yeah, he got one over on Speedball, but I will say this, Speedball right now is on a tear, and this is becoming a Speedball stand account, because I think no matter where he wrestles, what he does, he's absolutely phenomenal, and this is his year. I mean, I would not be surprised if let's say Macklin does have a short run, if it's not Speedball taking it off of him. I don't know how that's gonna work with Nick Aldis around, but I would like to watch it. I would like to see how that's gonna transpire.
Go back and get some info on Nick Aldis from Steven Jensen on the Rebellion post show. We'll leave it at that. Gia Miller's backstage with Santino Marella. Santino is like, I'm here to slice with a sword of justice, and he doesn't rule out having more matches. And then Alicia Edwards walks in, runs in, and she's like, what are you going to do about PCO? What are you going to do about PCO? I lost the match. And then this is my favorite, and I don't think anyone gets this unless they're like either over a certain age or they listen to Krista Berg. Santino calls Lish Delicia. And I don't know if you know the song. I doubt you do. I don't think anybody knows the song. It's called Patricia the Stripper. It's a song.
I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Have you heard of the song Lady in Red?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's Krista Berg. It's the same singer. So he has a second song that people mostly know. It's called Patricia the Stripper. And they called Patricia Delicia. Anyway.
I see. It's great marketing. I see. I'm putting 8 and 2 together and getting 5.
Yeah, good song. It's a very ragtag song. Anyway, so Santino calls her Delicia, and I'm like 99.9% sure that it's a Krista Berg reference. And then Santino's like, oh, you don't want to be late for your match. And then she's like, wait, what do you mean my match? And so she runs off, and Gia's like, did she really have a match? She's like, she does now, which it was fun. It was cute. It was fine. And then in walks our favorite Johnny Swinger, the swingman himself. And Zicky Dai's like, wow, 50 matches to win, daddy. And then Santino's like, we can't keep feeding the roster and allocating resources to tickle your fancy. And then Zicky's like, no, I got a guy, and I can cover his pay. I'll cover his trains. I'll do anything you need. We got him, and he's going to be the guy. And then they're like, all right, fine. You do it. You pay for it. We'll do it. And that's fine. So what do? They say back to old dungeon, and it's going to be Zicky Dice next week, bringing in someone for Johnny Swinger. And by the way, it's really, really friggin' good. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's going to start something fun.
You leaned in close, and I thought you were going to spoil it, and I got excited for a moment.
I ain't going to spoil that shit. No way. Y'all can read the spoilers on Fightful.com if you want, but I'm not going to be the one to spoil it. That would suck.
I don't want to read spoilers.
Then don't. Wait until next week. It's going to be good stuff.
I want it now. I'm impatient.
TS can't do that. Deanna, do you want to talk about the segment with Santino and Lish and Zicky and LM, or is the moment?
Whoa, what is there to talk about? I mean, like, Lish's gear is cute in the upcoming match.
Oh, no. Stop it.
I liked it. Listen, I'm here for a 2000s all jean moment with the cheeks out. I liked her gear. I thought it was cute.
Listen, there is a special place in hell, Cresta, for someone who wears denim capris and denim shooter boots, okay? Denim assless chapped capris.
Okay, I have a horrible joke for you. Are you ready?
Absolutely, hit me.
What is Mario's favorite clothing to wear?
I got it. Go for it.
Denim, denim, denim. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Host next week. So if anyone wants, just send me a DM. Deanna Barraza, who, by the way, was a guest on In the Weed, the new show that Jeremy Lambert and I are hosting over on Fightful Overbooked every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern until noon. She was on the show literally the morning after she won the Knockouts World Championship. So that was fun. Really had a good time talking with her. You can find the interview in its entirety on youtube.com/Fightful, or go over and subscribe to Fightful Overbooked right now. You can see the full show. Tomorrow, Joshua Bishop's going to be joining us. He's got a match with Matt Cardona, with Steph DeLander and Fonzie in his corner. ECW manager of the Stars, Fonzie. I wish it was the Fonz. That'd be great.
I'm like, that's wild.
Josh Bishop will be with us probably around noon, and then of course Kylie and or Haley from Tag Talk are going to be with us as well in the morning. So come and hang out with us over on Fightful Overbooked, 10 a.m. to noon every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Deanna has a segment pre-tape good stuff. She says the age of the virtuosa defined an era, but that era is over. A new era has risen to take its place. Gilded in the forge of the future. Welcome to the new age of the virtuosa. Here's the thing, Cresta. It looked good. It sounded good. It made no sense.
It made perfect sense.
Tell me.
She said, you thought you knew who I was before. And what did I do before? I break bitches' arms. So now, I mean, I'm paraphrasing.
Gotcha.
So now that age is over. I'm no longer just breaking bitches' arms. I'm tapping you out, then I'm breaking your arm. It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Yeah, totally agree. This made no sense. It was beautifully shot, but it just made no sense. Don't worry, the follow-up doesn't make much sense either. Tonight, on tonight's show with the Coven. We'll talk about that.
I was like, what?
Yeah. So here's one thing that's worth it from the interview that Deanna did with us, is that she confirmed exactly what we had talked about during our Fightful Rebellion post show. And that is the idea that Deonna Purrazzo is a babyface. She said it. She's like, I'm a good guy now. She said that in the interview. And that's one of the reasons why, for instance, you won't see her and Steve Macklin on screen together. They were never paired up before. She said that was an Impact decision to not be in each other's world, cross-pollinate and all that stuff. They want to keep them apart. So in Impact tradition or Impact lore, Deonna Purrazzo and Steve Macklin are not together. They don't know each other other than they live and breathe the same company air, but they don't work together. Or they work together, but they don't work together. They don't. Their
paths don't cross.
Yeah, their paths don't cross. So instead, she's a babyface now. So they're definitely not going to be crossing paths anytime soon, because they are not going to be turning Steve Macklin into a babyface anytime soon.
Oh, after this aggressively American promo at the end, I will say this. Deonna Purrazzo is one of those people in Impact that she's Seth Rollins level of over. She could be out there, she could spit on someone, and people would be like, you know what? That's fair. We like you, Deonna Purrazzo. We like you. Like, she's over. So I feel like turning her baby face is the best bet, but she could still be a jerk, and I would still hear Impact cheer for her.
Yeah, exactly. And for now, she's beloved. She's come a long way. People want to cheer her, so why fight that tide? And there are plenty of heels in Impact.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There will be more.
Plenty of jerks.
And there will be more coming to face her for that championship. So with that in mind, out comes Alicia Edwards, and she's got a match against Tara Rising, who also faced Jody Threat in her debut match. Tara Rising is also known as Taylor Rising on the Independents in Toronto. She's a good wrestler. She's a really solid wrestler. It was really good to see her back, not only at a wrestling show that I've been at, but also on Impact TV. Simple match. Lish gets the win over Tara, as she's known in Impact. And then Lish goes to beat down Tara Rising a bit more. And then out comes Jody Threat. She makes the save. And one thing that I did enjoy, Cresta, is that commentary talked about something that you and I have talked about. And that is the awkwardness at the Edwards' home during the Honor No More days.
What a weird. Okay, before I forget, is her name a play on terrorizing? Because that's what I understood.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. I'm like, terrorizing. You're a funny girl. You're a very funny girl. This match was fine. It was over when I did this, and then it was over. Jody Threat is a very thick woman. I would not want to be on the receiving end of a Jody Threat beatdown. So, bye, Lynch.
She got them boulder shoulders, and I mean that with like the utmost respect. She's very well put together. She's very good at this. We're about to talk about a segment backstage where it wasn't her best, but let's just get to it now. Jody threatened Tara Rising her backstage, and Tara thanks Jody for helping her out and getting her out of that situation. Jody's like, I hate seeing people get taken advantage of. Lish will get hers, and then it was just very awkward. It wasn't very well acted. But Cresta, here's the thing. This is Jody's first TV national contract in wrestling. Remember when we started this whole show, we started talking about Giselle Shaw not really getting it when it came to the acting skills. look at her now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The reps will come. This is awkward now, but like this is how it's going to start. Jody is just getting her footing. She's going to keep getting better. She's going to continue to learn and continue to grow as an actor and as a wrestler too, because God knows, like, nobody's perfect on their first time in. So as much as people are expecting her to come in and light everything on fire, plenty of time. She's going to do great, but not her best outing on this particular segment.
No, I agree. It was to me, it's one of those, I'm new baby face. I don't like bullies. Yay. And like you said, Giselle Shaw is a perfect example. I think in about 3 months' time, Jody Threat is going to be the worst in the best way. You know what I mean? She's going to be giving us bangers matches with like Masha Slamovich, Jordan Grace. I could see all of that in her future. So I mean, as awkward as it was, I'm still kind of excited because, like I said, that's a meaty woman. I can't wait.
There's a lot of upside to Jody, and that's why you sign somebody like her, because she is going to get such an opportunity out of this as long as she gets as long as she makes the most of them, and that's great.
Yeah, got to see the vision.
Yeah, exactly. So let's move on. Oh, by the way, I'm not looking so much forward to watching her try to act with Alicia Edwards, because that's
Listen, the same noise you just made is the same noise I make every time the Miz comes on my screen.
Miz is an amazing actor. How dare you?
All right, Joel. Listen, I have to deal with this with my little brother because he's a Miz stan, but I don't. Respectfully, I think he's great coming from the real world into this. But now I mute the TV.
Wow. Anyway, get your super chats in and tell Cresta how wrong she is about the Miz. Let's move on. Let's talk about Moose versus Yuya Uemura. When I saw this live, I was like, well, this is going to be an interesting matchup. Big man, little man. Brian Myers is with Moose. Bhupinder Gujjar is with Yuya. Of course, these guys all work together in that hardcore war at Rebellion, so it made sense. It was fine. And yeah, by the way, they're pointing out in the chat that Jody Threat is a Josh Alexander student, which is true, and that's great. So again, great wrestler, and she's just going to get better.
She's gonna blossom. She's a little rosebud. She's gonna bloom real soon.
Yeah. So anyway, back to Yuya and Moose. Good little match. They're back to pushing Yuya as a member of the New Japan roster, which has me thinking that maybe Yuya is starting to move back towards New Japan Pro Wrestling soon. We'll find out. Either way, there's a really good giant belly-to-back suplex from Yuya off the middle rope on Moose, and then Myers distracts the ref after Yuya hits a crossbody on Moose. Gujjar takes out Myers. Moose spears Yuya. He gets the win. There we are. Anything to add about Moose beating Yuya Uemura?
Bhupinder Gujjar is the worst person to have on the ringside. Brian Myers was meddling all in that match, and Gujjar only helped one time. I like Gujjar, but bruh, you gotta help. I understand you're babyface, but you gotta help. Come on, what you out there for, to observe?
I thought Gujjar was turning tonight, or at least on Monday night when I saw it. I had it in my notes. Gujjar beats down Yuya Uemura, and that's how the segment ends. But clearly not how it happens. The only reason I thought it was that way was because he didn't do anything all match until he got involved with Myers. And also he was doing the brooding, wearing a black leather biker jacket. And like, he didn't look like Bhupinder Gujjar normally looks on Impact Wrestling. I've seen him work once as a heel, and he worked really well, did Gujjar. He had a match with Silesia Sparks, who also will be on TV next week.
Period.
Yeah, I mean, I'll spoil this now. Jody Threat has a match next week, and it's with Silesia Sparks, who's been on AEW Dark. So I'll say that because that's not really giving away anything massive. Anyway, yeah, the point I was trying to make here was that Gujjar and Sparks had a match where Gujjar ended up being the heel. He didn't want to fight Sparks because he was like, I don't want to fight a girl. I'm much bigger than you. And he ended up becoming like a big heel midway in the match. And then like, you could see it coming out. It was really good stuff. So he has it in him, but they're not pulling the trigger yet.
Okay, I didn't see that. So now I'm gonna keep my eyes on it, especially if he's on TV next week. But I just thought he was doing the baby face thing of, well, I'm not gonna stoop to your level and meddle either. But it's like, bro, like, you could at least beat up Brian Myers, he's that annoying kid who you're telling like, yo, don't taste any of the food while I'm cooking. And you turn around and their hand is like like, yo, bro, like do something.
No, and I agree with you. I don't think we're going to see that soon, but I know that there is place for Gujar as a heel in Impact. I don't know when it'll happen, but I can see it going down. Okay. Let's talk about Jimmy Jacobs interviewing Nick Aldis. I don't know why they had Jacobs do it and not Gia Miller, but I'm assuming it has something to do with Nick Aldis's past in wrestling. Anyway, Nick Aldis comes out and he's like, let me reintroduce myself, essentially. Says, I was 21 with nothing but potential and a very bad gimmick. I spent 6 years swimming with the deadliest sharks in the industry, working through every spot on the card to the main event and the world championship. Very just every wrestling platitude you can think of. Nick Aldis hit it tonight. It was kind of cheesy. And then he says he hadn't hit his full potential by the time he won his first world championship. So he went away and learned a few new holds, which is very much like inside baseball wrestling talk. I don't know why we're doing this. He's basically talking about going to the NWA and holding that title for way too long. And then he says, I got my sights set on Steve Macklin. And then when Jimmy Jacobs asks if he'll be attending the changing of the guard, he says, no, that's the champion's prerogative was to not have anyone at ringside. I respect that, but I'll be watching. What do you think of Nick Aldis's first appearance in his new role at Impact?
What was his bad gimmick?
Brutus Magnus.
I heard that name a million times. And in theory, that name sounds cool, but it could also err on the side of incredibly corny.
It is. I'm happy Nick Aldis found a place. I think Nick Aldis being on TV, on regular wrestling television, is a good thing. I didn't think he would fit in the in the AEW world because I said this on In the Weeds with Jeremy. He is British Cody Rhodes.
Adrenaline in my hole. Nick Aldis, British Cody Rhodes.
So the point is, they both wear 3-piece suits. They both love to talk their weird, platitudinal game. And, anything Cody does, Nick does it with a British accent. And it's fine. It's fine. It's not for me, but it also wouldn't have worked in AEW. He would have worked.
Telling me all these things that are putting Nick Aldis. I love Cody Rhodes. I like Nick Aldis making it. I like him more now.
So Aldis is trying to be like this kind of like throwback guy. He's trying to be the wrestler of old brother. And that worked in the NWA because that's what Billy Corgan was trying to present. Impact is not trying to present as much as they celebrate the past of Impact, they don't do brother very much. And the way they do it right now is Hotch and Skyler.
You got this.
Scotch and Skyler. Anyway, the Good Hands, who are very much a making fun of the throwback brother days. So I don't know where Nick Aldis fits in 2023 Impact Wrestling. That's really what I'm getting at. I think he fits in wrestling. I don't know how he fits in this company.
I think Impact has one of the unique abilities to have a thing for everyone. I think that old school throwback bravado can work because we have an undead Rome. You know what I mean? There's a little bit of everything. For every Speedball and Josh Alexander, you have a Crazy Steve, Black Taurus, Johnny Swinger. And they all have in common that they're phenomenal wrestlers, but they're at the different ends of the wrestling spectrum. And people quite often in Impact go from ha jokey joke to I'm super serious and vice versa. So, I think that I can't think of anyone else besides Moose to an extent and Joe Hendry to an extent who has that I am the wrestler and I get that from Nick Aldis. So I could see that. I see what you mean, but I think Impact has very much a place for not Nick Aldis. Impact is the home of wayward wrestling friends. You're all welcome. We're all family, like Olive Garden. We're all family in here.
But do we have to be?
I mean, you don't have to sit at the same end of the table with Scott DeBoer, who you haven't seen in 12 years. You sit on my end of the table. We didn't even make it. We're cleaning up the table after everyone ate.
Daddy, let's return my phone calls.
We're the kids under the stairs. We're in the cupboard.
We're just yucking up a storm. Dobby the Breen Hayden sends us a super chat saying, agreed on Aldis being British Cody. I do like how much in a short promo, Nick Aldis can build up the prestige of the world title. He looks the part too. 100%. I will never disparage the way Nick Aldis and Cody, for that matter, come to work. They want to be the guy. They want to dress and look the part of a bit of that throwback guy. You know, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I also know that Macklin could also be that guy if you want him to dress up in a suit and tie and do that gimmick. But for now, Aldis being like super white meat babyface to take on Steve Macklin in a few months, yeah, I can build to that. I'm fine with that and make the title more prestigious. If Nick Aldis is willing to take an L to Steve Macklin, then I think that also builds the prestige of the Impact title, because guess who's held that title? Nick Aldis.
True.
So why not go that way? Anyway, let's keep going. I mentioned the good hands. Well, Hotch and Skylar have a match, a 2-on-1 against Frankie Kazarian. This match is quick. It's fun. It's fine. They come out. The good hands do. They call the people in the crowd moronic Canadians. We witnessed Kazarian assault Hotch and Skylar, and they weren't even participants in Hardcore War at Rebellion, and that's what they're talking about. So they challenge Kazarian to a 2-on-1 match because they don't care where Kaz is from or what he's done, because this house was built by two good hands. Brother. Anyway, Skylar has Hotch in a figure 4 and somehow package pins Hotch for 2 in the middle of the match. I love that stuff. That is good, funny shit. And then Kazarian gets Hotch to tap out to the chicken wing, which like he teased a bunch of times throughout the match. I don't have anything to add to it because good hands just look dumb, and Frankie Kazarian got a statement win.
Imagine losing to Frankie Kazarian 2v1. Frankie Kazarian is a phenomenal wrestler. I'm not disparaging that, but I'm just saying, imagine talking all of that smack. Imagine losing 2v1 to Frankie Kazarian, whose finisher is a submission. So that means he beat up one of you so bad that you were incapacitated, that you couldn't at least jump on the other one. Wow. I mean, where's your Uncle Bully? He could help you cheat. 2v1. Woof. I mean, stupid is not the word. I was sports entertained for that mere fact that Frankie Kazarian is your hip uncle who has a sports car with a nice tan, hanging out with Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley at wrestling school.
I don't think we'll be seeing Bully for the foreseeable future.
Darn.
I'm thinking we're done, or at least done until the next pay-per-view cycle, not Impact Special. And honestly, I'm fine with that. Let him take a big break. Even if it doesn't come back, that's fine too. But like, just to be supportive, just to be like, again, I really liked what he did with Josh. We talked about this a long time ago with the Hard to Kill. Hardcore War, as much as I hated the busted open island stuff, there was some brightness in the Bully.
That match was pretty good, all things considered. The last one I was besides the cheese grater spot, I was fairly sports entertained. I was going into it. I hated it. But the match itself was good. I'm just saying, Skylar and Hotch right now, you look ridiculous.
That's fair. Good jobbers is what they are. Let's talk about the Coven. They're pulling out tarot cards. This is the hour. Ours is the magic. Our is the power. Long live the Coven. The cards say something new is coming, a new wholeness, a new balance. They called Deonna Purrazzo a fraud and a virtuosa of nothing. It's the dawning of the age of Aquarius, and I love this. Kylan King says harmony and understanding. Bitches.
I liked it, but they're wrong. This is Taurus season from April 20th to May 20th. So I'm a little appalled that they would get this wrong. I mean, the heart of the cards, there's no useless cards in my grandfather's deck. Shout out to my Yu-Gi-Oh watchers. But like, it was a weird segment to me. Does that mean the Coven I thought the Coven's getting a third person. That's what I took it as. But then why are you beefing with Deonna Purrazzo? You leave that woman alone.
Deonna's first title defense is next week against Taylor Wilde. That's all I'm going to say.
She's about to get a wild whooping.
Guys, I like that. That's good. Keep that one for next week because it's going to be good. No, there's some storytelling involved. We'll get there next week. Sami Callihan's back. Calls himself the puppet master of pro wrestling. Says he'll play the long game to prove a point. Cresta Star, what fucking long game did Sami Callihan play when he took the design, as he says, from the inside, out from the inside, which he really didn't do?
He played the I got a free haircut game.
And even then, he's like, I had 7 steps of my own. Shave my head. That's just another Thursday. And I'm like, if you get your haircut once a week, my God, that's expensive.
$40 just to cut my hair off because I want it even?
Come on, man.
This is why I have a mustache that I could glue on and off because highway robbery, I have to pay someone else to do it.
So Sammy's like, destroy the designer steps 2 through 7, essentially. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is a lazy plan because it didn't really work.
It didn't even work.
The designer in action next week against Ace of Base. So, like,
clearly, they're getting cheated out their boots.
Clearly, they're fine. I mean, the design lost. It's just this weird, like, Sammy's crazy and he thinks he did a thing, but really he did nothing. He wasted our time for 3 months.
That's not nice, Joel.
Well, we sat here week after week being like, what's going to happen? And like some weeks we were like, oh, maybe he'll join and it'll be a thing for a while. But like towards the end, we were like, nah, never mind. He's going to turn and that's the match. And that's what happened. And like Sammy's like, I want to ruin your lives now. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm like, you already ruined our lives by making us watch the 7-step plan and nothing happened. All I'm saying is I'm hoping for more. You better do Diener versus Sammy in like a Clockwork Orange match. That's the only way that I'm going to be okay with this. Do a really brutal death match style thing.
You know what? I hear you. At first, but beyond the shock value of you just being a mean Canadian, I hear you.
I am mean.
I will say this. I think that the problem with the whole Sami Callihan, it was the will he, won't he situation. And it's okay to work us. That's why we watch wrestling. We watch wrestling to get worked. That's what we tune in every week for. But I will say that it was left feeling a lot flatter. So now we're going to get Sami Callihan terrorizing the design. Historically speaking, that didn't work. You got beat up for 3 weeks straight. And then you said, I got tired of getting beat up. Let me join you guys. And now what? We're back at square one. So this tag team title shot y'all got coming up next week, he's coming out with a bat. You guys are getting cheated out of your boots. Like, that's happening. You guys are totally getting cheated. But it's kind of like, I don't know. I get what you say. Like, it feels like a big old waste of time in the grand scheme of things.
It's going to continue, and that's fine. The match with Ace of Base and the design is a non-title match. So it's not like this is a tag.
Oh, they're still getting cheated out of their boots. Sami Callihan is still coming down to cheat them out their boots.
I'm not going to tell you what happened. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm not going to tell you you're right.
You're Miss Cleo. You've seen it already.
I seen it, and for $4.99, if you send me the super chat, I will tell you what happened.
I won't be. Hold on. I won't be listening.
Just hit your mute button. Anyway, let's move on. Joe Hendry takes on Sheldon Jean. By the way, I did not realize that Sheldon Jean is from my hometown of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And I also didn't know that Sheldon Jean, who we've spoken about on this show, was on pre-pandemic Big Brother Canada.
Yeah, which I don't watch Big Brother, but the way they made it sound like he only didn't win because of the good old Pico de Gallo. And they were like, well, we're not giving you the money because you didn't technically lose. You didn't technically win either.
But he lost. He got evicted. He was the last house guest evicted before they canceled the season.
But then who was left in the house?
A bunch of other people because he was evicted in week 4.
Oh, girl, bye. What are you talking about? You lost. Bye, girl.
When I heard it, so they didn't tell us about this at the tapings, like the way that that commentary explains it. But like Joe Hendry in his promo mentioned, like, you were on Canadian Big Brother. You only lasted 4 weeks. And then he says, the crowd can last forever in Hendry's house if you believe. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. Now I want to talk to Sheldon Jean about his time on Big Brother Canada, especially now that I know it's pandemic Big Brother Canada. Let's do that. With all that in mind, I was like, are we really going to lean into this that hard? That Sheldon Jean's gimmick and impact is that he is a Big Brother contestant? Because if he is, or if they are, I want him and Kenny King to be in a tag team, because Kenny King's claim to fame is being on The Bachelor and a Chippendales dancer, but mostly the Bachelor part.
He was the Bachelor? Like he was the guy that all the girls were fighting for?
I think one season he was the Bachelor, and then he brought back again for a Bachelorette. I think he started on Bachelorette and he left because he wanted to go home to his daughter. And then I think they brought him back again for a Bachelor season.
Where he was people were fighting over Kenny King?
Good looking man, that Kenny King.
Okay, I realize the way I'm saying it. I don't think, you know what? The chicken was lovely. I realize, I'm so sorry, Kenny King. You're very handsome. That's not what I meant.
Wow.
Blocked. I'm going to go to his Twitter. It's like, you've been blocked.
Okay, so Kenny was on season 13 of The Bachelorette in 2017. He pulled himself out of the competition in 9th place because he wanted to be with his daughter. And then in 2018, he was a part of Bachelor in Paradise on the 5th season.
That's real cute.
Yeah.
Good for you. I hope you found love.
He did not. He's still openly dating in Vegas and LA. So there's that.
There you go, girls.
Oh, no, maybe he said he had to go. Listen to his interview on the Sessions with Renee Paquette. They just dropped that one today.
Period.
Anyway, Kenny King and Sheldon Jean should be in a tag team, and they should call themselves the Reality Stars. They come out. This is a digital media championship match. This was a solid match. Again, Sheldon Jean looked good, had a good half kick or a good calf kick that took Hendry down. And then his selling, Sheldon Jean, is just really on top of things. He's good. He's solid. He's young. I look forward to watching him get more reps in Impact and elsewhere. I've seen him at Greektown Wrestling in Toronto, so there's definitely some steam behind Sheldon Jean, which is great. And then Hendry wins with the standing ovation. Crowd was split. They wanted to see their Canadian do well, but obviously they were very much behind Joe Hendry. Anything you want to add about this match?
I love Joe Hendry. Match of the night. 87 stars in the Tokyo Dome. Just make sure I check my my notes. No. My notes literally say Hendry's house. Is that like the swingers dungeon?
It's pretty swinging house.
It's the Hendry's house is here. And like the Bat Cave, swingers dungeon is here. And underneath swingers dungeon is the undead realm. And underneath that is Wrestle House.
Oh man, Wrestle House is gonna be poised to make a comeback anytime now. I hope never. Next week on the show, Masha Slamovich and Jordan Grace. The design take on Ace of Base. It's non-title. And then for the Knockouts title, it's Deonna Purrazzo versus Taylor Wilde. And I've already given it away. Jody Threat takes on Silesia Sparks in a match that I saw a month before it happened on Impact at Greektown Wrestling.
So Greektown Wrestling is like, we test kitchen for Impact.
So Channing Decker, who is the owner and proprietor of Greektown Wrestling and the current Greektown Wrestling champion, has a match on BTI, I assume next week, against Kenny King. And it is a very good match. And that's not me who is a fan of Greektown and Channing. It is objectively a very good match. These two guys do it really well. So I do recommend watching BTI next week if that's the match that they're showing. But yeah, the promotion that they used, the photo that they used from Channing Decker was from 2017 when he was fresh-faced young boy.
Now he's like a haggard old man.
Well, now he's he had short hair. It was very ROH because he did work ROH back then. And now he's Mr. Hardcore now. He's gone to Japan and done death matches. Most of his title defenses are hardcore matches.
Oh, disgusting.
He wears the Japanese bandana like Onita, and he has spaghetti stringy fucking curly hair. He's got a beard. He doesn't look the way he does in that promotional photo. I had such a good laugh with him over this. But go watch the match. Kenny King and Channing Decker. That's probably next week on BTI. So good stuff. That's next week.
Yeah.
let's talk about the main event segment. The changing of the guard with Steve Macklin and friends. So they've got the American flags all over the screen. Of course, we're in Toronto, so we didn't really love that. Macklin is flanked by a bunch of men wearing army fatigue. He has red, white, and blue streamers thrown at him when he gets to the ring. The crowd chanting is paper champion. They're chanting walking weapon, and we want Josh as Josh Alexander. And then I don't know if this made the air, but he starts off by starting the promo in February of 2021. Did he get cut off and then have to start again in this airing, or did he went right through it?
He went right through it.
Okay, live, he didn't even get that first line out. He was booed so hard.
Wait, actually, I think he said it and then paused because they were booing the fuck out of him.
Okay, so I'll have to go back and watch that, because if that's what they did, then they didn't edit it out, and they shouldn't, because the heat on him was really good.
Yeah.
So he says, February 2021, my back was against the wall. I had to figure out who I am, who I wanted to become, who I should be. Not too long after that, Impact gave me a chance. They gave me an opportunity, and I kicked the door down. And said Josh Alexander did the same thing at the same time. He had the longest reign as Impact Wrestling World Champion in history. They're chanting walking weapon again as the crowd. At one point, by the way, they're chanting Channing Decker, which also made me laugh. You can't hear it because they cut that part out though.
Damn, they said, nope, you will not do this. We like a good joke, but you're taking it too far.
They let him go. And he's like, I have the title. I have all the glory. And while nobody else saw what I was doing, I'm now the Impact World Champion. He says, my mission is still incomplete because there's one step left, and that's to beat Josh Alexander in his hometown, in his home country, where the crowd was already embarrassed for him, and I was going to embarrass him again, yada, yada, yada. And he says, this is an open invitation, an open challenge to anybody in the building, as long as you're Canadian. He runs down the crowd, which was really good stuff.
He wanted to fight a child.
He would have, too. That's the best part. He would have fought a child. I would have fought a child, too. There were some children there that I was like, put up a Dukes.
You heard it here first, guys. Joel's a child puncher.
I couldn't do it. No, I can't. I'm not even going to say what Anyway, so Scott D'Amore comes out. Big pop from the crowd. And of course, he says, oh, your student step aside so I can get into my own ring. And then Macklin's like, that's American hospitality, Scott.
I mean, sounds about right. I come into as an American, I know my history. We show up places, say, this is a nice place you got. It's now mine, and these are now my rules on your land. So get into it. It's the American way.
Exactly. So Scott D'Amore is just like, yeah, you want to talk about opportunities? Let's not forget who gave you these opportunities. Son, he says. And I'm just like, son, I'm right here. You never acknowledged me. Anyway.
I mean, you weren't a forgotten son, and that's the problem. Good. I mean, technically you are.
I am by Scott, yes. So Scott D'Amore says, I've always known you have what it takes to be a world champion, and you are. Congratulations. Problem is, you change your history to fit your narrative. Do you want to humiliate my country with this open challenge, or are you doing all of this just to duck Nick Aldis? And Scott's like, oh, and of course we hadn't seen Nick Aldis. We didn't know where he was because we didn't see that Nick Aldis segment in the audience. So we thought maybe they were going to bring him out, but that's clearly not what they do. Macklin's like, no, everything I do is with purpose. That includes retreating. That's all tactical. And you got Macklin just trying to goad Scott D'Amore into a title. And then he says, when did you trade your balls for that headset? And I had a good laugh at that one.
He was baiting the hell out of him. Like, that's bait.
Yeah, he just kept going. And Scott D'Amore's like, there are days where I'd love to trade a suit for a singlet, but those days are over. I shouldn't have thrown the belt in your face at Rebellion. You had every opportunity to face me. You did nothing. You did what you always do. You hit me in the back like a coward, and you're a cowardly SOB. Says, I've made mistakes, but I rarely make the same one twice. It's standing here face to face. You want to run your mouth. You want to face a Canadian at Under Siege. I have the perfect Canadian, perfect creation one. It'll be Steve Macklin and PCO at Under Siege. PCO comes out, beats down the Army guys. They do a numbers advantage thing with Macklin. They set up a table. PCO fights out of it. Yada, yada, yada. PCO puts two Army guys through a table. Macklin retreats. Macklin PCO in London, Ontario on May 26th. What do we think of this segment, Cresta Star? Because now we're here.
I said it at the top when we transitioned. I'll say it now. Wah, wah. I mean, I know that sounds mean, But it's my opinion. And opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, and a lot of them are shitty. So this is my opinion. I feel like I like PCO. He's great. But I feel like with the heat of Macklin taking it off of Josh, regardless of the circumstances, the only, like, him being aggressively, violently American, the only thing more American is if he played the Hulk Hogan theme coming down the damn ramp. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's another Canadian, like an up-and-comer that you can put the eyes on, because I think it's inevitable. Ace Austin. I think it's inevitable that whoever it is going to lose. You know what I mean? And that's okay. That is okay. But the rub that you would get from Steve Macklin, superb. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. It's just and not to say that it's annoying. I just feel like again, there's a better use of both men's time. And again, I know PCO, even if you were already going to lose, you're about to get cheated out your boots by Edward Edwards. How did you just beat me up and now you get a title shot? That's not happening. I don't care if you're Canadian. I'm from Boston, and people from Boston are rude if you don't know.
It's true, they are. They're the worst.
A true New Yorker. I don't know why we hate each other. We just do.
So let me address a few things. First thing I'm going to say is you've got Steve Macklin is a brand new champion. He, in the eyes of many people, have not earned that championship yet. Yeah.
Okay, I'll listen, because I think he has over. If you've been watching Impact, like you and I, but over the past year.
But it's one
I
thing.
Think he has.
It's one thing to chase. It's another thing to hold the title and be the guy and deal with the pressures of being a champion. And again, everything I'm about to say, by the way, is it within the confines of kayfabe and within the writing of a professional wrestling show.
Absolutely.
People are just like, they booked the show. But instead of saying they booked the show, think about it like you're writing a damn TV show. Macklin is a new champion. He doesn't have the pressures known yet. This is new. PCO is an established talent. He's Canadian, but also like he's been around for a long time, and he's scary in a lot of ways. I had a guy at the Impact show at Rebellion who had never watched an Impact show live, and he's like, what's the deal with PCO? And I said, picture a guy who hates his body and takes it out on others.
Stop it, Joel.
But it's true. PCO is that guy. PCO will do anything to hurt somebody, including putting his body on the line. And as a result, people really respect him or like him for that in the wrestling kayfabe world. He's also scary because you don't know what he's going to do. So if you have big, scary guy going up against Steve Macklin, who is new champion, trying to be tested, and also PCO's Canadian, so that helps because you're going to be in Canada for the show. And Macklin's whole thing right now is, I hate Canada. Sure, cool, fine. This is the right guy for him because, again, we know PCO is going to lose. That's fine.
Okay,
because
fair.
PCO is not a credible champion, but he is a credible challenger. So the idea here is that we're building Macklin as a credible champion who can beat people and not just look like he wrestles with the title around his waist.
That's fair. I like that explanation. Can you imagine if PCO wins?
Let's do it. I'm fine with it. Let's go.
Oh, I love a good chaotic option. Whatever's the most chaotic option, I want to see it. I want to see it.
And like I mentioned this before. Oh my God, there was a show recently that I was thinking of. Oh, you know what it is? It's NXT. It's the spring break show that they're doing this coming Tuesday. That, compare that to what they're about to do at Under Siege. The undercard is going to be better than the main event on paper. And we know that on NXT, Grayson Waller is not going to win the NXT championship. This is Carmelo Hayes' first big challenge, and it's Grayson Waller. Waller is credible in that he has been around for a while and he talks a big game, but no one expects him to win. Everyone expects Waller to lose and for Hayes to start getting that championship mentality, that winning mentality. And he builds and he builds and he builds. So that's what we're doing with Macklin and PCO. And then the rest of the card on NXT looks much better than the main event. And people are still going to watch the show. But in Impact, same thing. They got to build a very credible undercard because the main event, yeah, it'll be fun, but like, there's no question in our mind who's going to win.
That's fair. I'm just thinking too, because again, this is a speedball stand account. Is it speedball Canadian?
Yeah, he's from Quebec. It doesn't count. But also, you got to build Speedball elsewhere. Having Speedball just have the first title defense after he just lost a title shot doesn't make any sense.
Fair. Also, what did Quebec do to you? That wasn't nice.
Look up 1995 in Quebec, and you'll hear all about the Separatist Party. Actually, what was really funny was Speedball at one point during a wrestling show. I think it was Mania weekend or just before it. Oh no, it was. You know what it was? Speedball was wrestling for a local Montreal promotion with IWS, who was their Montreal promotion. They were taking on a GCW contingent, and Speedball made a reference to like loving not loving Canada, but saying Quebec is awesome, because I think people were booing him. It's a whole thing. I tweeted it out, but anyway, Quebec is not great. They're fine. They're not great.
I feel like this is a New York-Boston situation.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah. There were Boston sucks chants at Rebellion, and they were right.
I mean, again, as a New Yorker, I think it has something to do with baseball before I don't know. Who cares?
Anyway, that was Impact for April 20th, 2023. Show was fine. It's kind of a maintenance coming out of the show. Rebellion was good, and now we got to start planting seeds for next month's Under Siege event. Cresta Star, what you got going on?
Just gonna piggyback off of that. I agree. I think this was a very much a seed sowing episode. It may seem a little slow, but in a week or two, we will see the fruits of our labor, and our children will start to sprout out of the wrestling dirt. This is the part where we say goodbye. Okay. My name is Cresta Star. It's been fantastic being here with you guys. You can catch me Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on twitch.tv/CrestaStar or TikTok.com @CrestaStar. TikTok, type in Cresta Star, where I watch AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays, Monday Night Raw on Mondays, obviously, and on Fridays I watch SmackDown and AEW Rampage. Thursdays I am here with the illustrious, the beautiful, awesome, knowledgeable Joel Pearl, and sometimes Steven Jensen. Wow, that sounded mean. The knowledgeable, sometimes here, Steven Jensen, right after the Ring of Honor post show. That's it. I'm yucking it on Twitter, where you can see Cresta D Star. And I sometimes have a mustache. That's it. Joel Pearl, where can they find you?
I'm so tired tonight. I didn't even plug Fightful Select. FightfulSelect.com. Best $5 in the business. You want Jordan Grace free agency news? It's there. You want to ask Rhapsody? You want to ask Sean questions? You want to ask anybody questions? Go ahead. FightfulSelect.com. $5. Best in the business. Yada yada. You hear it on all the other shows that you listen to. So I'm not going to shill any further. Go to Fightful Overbooked. That's free. Go and subscribe to that channel. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Jeremy Lambert and I do a show called In the Weeds. That's from 10 a.m. Eastern until noon. Tomorrow we're going to go a little long, but we're going to have the Tag Talk girls, Kylie and Haley. They're going to be joining us to talk about Elite and BCC from AEW and the Hangman Page contract situation. They're going to talk to us about that. And then Joshua Bishop's going to join us later on in the show to talk about Matt Cardona and the match that he has at AIW against him this weekend. Other than that, I am at Joel Pearl. You can find me anywhere on socials and talk to me there. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you in the next one. Cheers and good night.
Bye.